Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
How are you? And welcome to the Positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. You want to do a Super Bowl. You got the Oilers as the NHL wraps up their final weekend before the break for Four Nations. You, of course, have Lotto Max tonight, $15 million. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. He is Connor Halley. And, man, we're going to have a loaded show. It's something tells me we're going to have a very interactive show. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 is the Ewell text line. We got Jeff Merrick's going to join us here in the first hour. Lorianne Munzer. We'll also hear from Craig Button later on. Evan Raywall will join us from Colorado to get the Avs point of view. Spec and Lowetide. We got Matt Derrick will join us. One final preview for the Super Bowl, baby. It's exciting. We've heard from Philly side. We'll get the KC side later today. Also, hear from Leon Draisaitl, as well as Chris Knobloch. And I had a good chat with John Klingberg today after practice, kind of where he's at now. He's got some games under his belt. I'll give you a quick little Cole's notes before the whole interview, but he said he was quite happy that he actually felt better in the Chicago game than he did in St. Louis. He's talking mobility-wise and such, and so, that's the second of a back-to-back game, and he felt better there. His puck moving, he's pretty confident. He goes, hey, that's been a strength of my game. I'm not really worried about that. The areas that he really wants to focus on are battles and just reading off your teammate and the small little intricacies of knowing, make sure you have the right gap. Because even when the gap is not necessarily on your side, you got to have the good gap, because if your partner has a good gap, you've got to be able then to be in a position that you're going to be able to get the puck and help him and then make a quick play. And so further to kind of what we talked about with Adam Oates yesterday, how we talked about defensemen and the importance of going back, and he used Ray Borkin as an example of how he goes, man, when I played with Ray Bork, I didn't know how good he was till I didn't play with him, because suddenly when I wasn't playing with him, well, now I had to do more work, because the defensemen I was with, they didn't always win all their battles like Ray did, and he would get the puck, and now we're going on offense, and I'm, saving energy. And it was a very insightful comment from Adam, and I think it's one that maybe gets overlooked. And so John Klingberg's talked about that's an area of his game he wants to work on. There was some discussions between him and the organization, because technically they could put him on a conditioning stint if he agreed to it. But number one, his family's here and they don't have a place to live, so he wants to get the comfort there, and I think that matters. So they want to set up their family. He's going to stay here and skate with the Oilers staff and stuff like that. He's also going to practice a few times with the Oil Kings, so he'll get his skating in. He's going to stay in Edmonton. Lots of guys are going away for the break. He obviously hasn't played enough. He's not tired. He actually wants to keep going, so he'll stay here. But they did look at the conditioning stint, but when you consider family and everything else, they thought it was better for him just to stay here, and he'll stay skating. Lots of guys are going to go away, but he will not. The Oilers, in case you're wondering, they have all of next week off, and they are back practicing the following Tuesday. So if I'm doing the 18th is when they'll be back. They practice Tuesday and Wednesday. Then they'll fly Thursday, and then they will practice in Philly on Friday, 2 weeks from today. And then they play on the 22nd to start a 5-game road trip against the Flyers. So also today, I promise this, because things get repeated a lot online, wherever. Sadly, in our society, nowadays, it seems like you can just say whatever you want and people just believe it. And if it turns out to not be true, well, whatever. To me, I think it's kind of disgusting, in all honesty. And obviously in sports, it's not nearly as serious. But, there is some concerns, and I think the concerns are valid to a point. But I think when you see the numbers, you'll be like, oh, maybe it's not as crazy. Because goals allowed in the first 3 shots of a game, Oiler fans, you get really fired up about it. Oh my God, we now let her go on the first 3 shots. We're going to lose. Well, the Oilers actually win more than they lose when they allow that, number one. Better record than almost every team in the league. But fun little stat for you as I was looking it up. 45% of games played in the NHL this year, one team allows a goal in the first 3 shots of the game. Last night, there was 9 games. 4 of them had a team score a goal in their first 3 shots of the game. The teams who scored first, 3 out of those 4, they lost because Colorado came back. Blackwood allowed one last night to Calgary. Huberdeau in the second shot of the game. They came back to win. You had Utah coming back to win last night. They had the Florida Panthers come back to win last night after they allowed a goal. The only team who allowed a goal in the first 3 shots who didn't win was Seattle. So it happens way more than you think. It's not just the Oilers. Okay. Now the Oilers do have it happen, but it's not Stuart Skinner nearly as much as it is Calvin Pickard. And I'll break it down the numbers, but just so you know, if you had to guess which goalie in the NHL has allowed the most goals within the first 3 shots of a game. Obviously, it's a starting goaltender because they play the most. What if I told you that many of the leaders in this category are guys who have won Vezinas? Igor Shesterkin has allowed the most goals this year that come in the first 3 shots of a game. 13. Stuart Skinner's at 12. Mackenzie Blackwood is at 11. Vasilevsky is at 11. Grubauer is at 11. Ottinger is at 10. Hill and Bobrovsky are at 9. And those are amongst the starters. Now, Calvin Pickard is actually at 11, which is crazy considering he's only started 18 games. So if you're concerned about Pickard in that element, but here's a fun little stat for you. Because I hear, you know what? The Oilers, they give up that goal and it's deflating. So Pickard's allowed it 11 times. The Oilers are 9-2 in those games. So it doesn't have the negative impact on the players as much as it does on the fans who get irritable about it. So would you like the Oilers to allow fewer of them? 100%. I understand it. But just remember, 46.7% of games this year have had a goal scored in the first 3 shots of the game. And so it's 406 goals have come like that in those games, 406 games out of the 859. But then there's actually another 32 games where some teams have allowed multiple goals in the first 3 shots. The Oilers have never allowed that this year, but it's happened. So you think you get upset about seeing 1 goal in the first 3 shots of the game? Imagine when your team allows 2, which has happened 32 times this year. So it's just a number. We'll break it down a little bit more because then I want to go through all the goals themselves because it's not always just the goalie's fault. Let's make that clear. But I just wanted to point out because I know that Oilers Nation gets real fired up about some things. And you got to compare it. How is it to league-wide? So would you want Skinner down a bit? Sure. But Shesterkin, Ottinger, Vasilevsky, Blackwood, lots of other top goalies, Bobrovsky, they're all up there. Aiden Hill, right? It's not a big one. Now, Pickard, funny enough, has the most wins, has some of the best numbers of a backup goalie, but he's allowed the most goals in the first 3 shots of the game. Now, sometimes some of those goals come late in the first period because the Oilers don't give up a lot of shots. So we'll keep that in mind. Now, anyway, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, where stop in. And hey, you're going to see this showdown a little bit more head-to-head on the ice starting next week for the 4 nations. McDavid and Matthews, where you stop in, you can get the Big Mac David, which of course is a double Big Mac. Try the triple cheeseburger if you're interested. That and more, the poutine special, the triple cheeseburger is my favorite. I'm not going to lie. I love it. No onions, just so you know. But no onions on it, it's even better. Only at McDonald's. We welcome in from the sheet at dailyfaceoff.com. Jeff Merrick joins us. Jeff, how you doing?
I am well. So listening to your goalie stats there, Gregor, I would just sort of started doing a little bit of noodling around and something popped into my brain here. And I just looked at it and I'm stunned. 'cause I had never really considered it before. Which goaltender surrendered the most goals in a single game, like without getting the hook? Like you can recall, like sometimes goalies would be left in there to rot.
Patty
Especially if it
Raw.
was a
I remember
backup.
that one.
That's the big one. Glad you met. That's the big one. Okay.
Yeah.
Doug Sotart,
Oh God.
1981, was allowed to rot for, you ready for it?
13.
Close. Oh, good for you. 15 goals.
What?
Can you imagine leaving a 10? Yeah. November 11th, Remembrance Day, November 11th, 1981. Rotted for 15 goals. I don't have the full game sheet in front of me, but
who was lighting him up?
It doesn't have the game here. Oh, wait a minute. It was Montreal against the Minnesota North Stars.
Oh, okay.
North Stars lit him for 15 in 1981.
That's a tough game, man. That is a tough game.
Like, how do you not, like, I don't know, maybe the backup is injured, I guess. I don't know. Or like, how do you let him rot for 15 goals?
That is, that's one where you're not happy as a goalie, I would think.
John
Garrett,
by the way.
You know what?
He was in twice for 12.
I'm looking it up. Frank Caprice, 1985.
13.
The Oilers lit him up for 13. Yeah.
Yep. Danny Herron, you mentioned him. You mentioned 13 a second ago. Flyers let him up for 15 or 13 in 84.
Yeah.
This
and
is great.
Sotart that game, actually, he was a member of the Jets, and it was Minnesota who lit him up. The Minnesota North Stars.
Oh, did I say Montreal? He was with the Jets then? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Minnesota North Stars had a field day that day. They were pretty happy offensively. Bobby Smith, 7-point game. 4 goals
7 in that one.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny too. He's almost become like there's a few guys that kind of been lost to history in the 80s.
Yeah,
who are great centers because like you're just overshadowed by like Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux and Mark Messier and Steve Yzerman and Dale Howardchuk. Like we always forget about how good Peter Stastny was, right?
Oh,
and Bobby Smith. Like you look at score. I think have we talked about this before? Like the number 2 scorer in the 80s was Peter Stastny.
Yep. Oh, he was great.
When's the last conversation you had about Peter Stastny?
No,
I think he's the best of all time.
Dude, I think I think you can make a strong argument that he's the most underrated player in NHL history.
Yeah, not going to disagree. I've with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. I remember having a conversation with him about because my dad would. I was too young for 72. But 1976 was a big one for me, the Canada Cup. I remember my dad telling me all about, Vladimir Zarilla, this goaltender, Yuri Holichuk for Czechoslovakia, and the team that was in the final 2 games with Team Canada. They were all Sittler scorers on Vladimir Zarilla. And I remember asking Peter Stastny about that a number of years ago, interviewing him on local radio. And he said it was a really tough dressing room. He said it was like right down the middle of the room. There was like the Czechs on one side and the Slovaks on the other side.
Yeah.
It was like even internally, it was nasty on that team.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're right. Stastny maybe the most underrated ever. Never talk about him.
Yeah.
Just piled up points.
It's like that 84 Canada Cup team when you had the Oilers and the Islanders who took up most of the team, and they finally had to have a few of the leaders get together and say, "Okay, fellas, like let's bury the hatchet."
Hey, listen, Canada Cup 87, right? Like we had just seen Edmonton and Philadelphia in one of I always maintain that was the best Stanley Cup final I ever saw. I loved everything about that Stanley Cup final. That Game 6 when JJ Daigneault scores, and that's the loudest I've ever heard the Spectrum. Like it was just jaw-dropping loud. And then that Game 7 and Hextall's chopping down Kent Nilsson and the Oilers are flying. Like so fantastic. And these guys all got to play a tournament together. Right? Like it's that was something. That was really listen, on the Morning Cup of Hockey on Daily Faceoff's YouTube, they're talking to Mike Rugioni yesterday, and there was always it's Herb Brooks, he's just going to fill it with Minnesota guys, right? And here comes, Mike Rugioni from BU, and how's this going to fit with all the Gophers guys, etc. Like, so it's a long-standing story in international hockey.
Yeah, no, it is. Jeff, lots to discuss.
Yeah.
Here we are. I know it's well past the halfway point of the season, but with the upcoming break, I did want to ask you right now today, who would be your 3 leading candidates for the Hart?
I go Connor Halley, number 1. I go Leon Draisaitl, number 2. And I really, really want to say Quinn Hughes, just because of the definition of the Hart Trophy as far as most valuable. The Vancouver Canucks are a completely different team without Quinn Hughes. With Quinn Hughes or without Quinn Hughes, absolutely different. But I'm really tempted to look at this and say Hellebuck number 1, Leon Draisaitl number 2, and I still want to find a way to put Jack Eichel there as well. I really do. How do you feel about it?
Well, the only reason I wouldn't have Eichel there, doesn't score enough goals for me. Doesn't have 20 goals yet on the season. And I think like if you're an MVP for your team, that to me, you got to be a goal scorer. And then maybe I'm a little, now obviously as a skater, not a goaltender, of course.
Yeah.
So I'd have him there. Nathan McKinnon's going to get some looks, but they had Rantanen, you got Makar, so I can see why. But McKinnon's had a really good year for Colorado. Like he's a pretty dominant player for me. The other guy that I think Nikita Kucherov's having another really good year. Never gets talked about
all the time.
I thought Kucherov could have won the Hart last year.
The thing that I love about Kucherov, when you say player, like we always talk about, okay, how many players would you actually pay to watch in the NHL? And there's a lot. Like once upon a time, it was only a handful of guys. Now there's plenty of players you will actually pay to watch play hockey. But I always found it interesting. If you ask that same question, not of fans, but of players, who they say, like, who would you watch? Who would you pay to watch play hockey? And a generation ago, it was Marian Hossa. All the guys would rave about, like, he's the player's player. Like, the old expression, you can't give a great player a bad pass. How many times did you see players throw pucks in Hossa skates or behind them or wobbling, and he would never even break stride and grab it and still go positionally great, two-way, like all of it. He was the player that hockey players looked at and said, like, oh, this guy is so good. That's Kucherov now. He's the one that the players all look at and marvel. Like, he is the master of deception. One of the great bits of advice that you can give any young hockey player is when you're out there, always be giving out bad information. Always try to, if you're going to pass one way, look the other. Always give out bad information. Every time you're on the ice, give out bad information. Nobody gives out bad information better than Nikita Kucherov. And even when it's times where you should know better, like that play that Tampa runs where it's a hard rim around the boards and Kucherov grabs it and spins and everybody thinks he's going to shoot and he fires a bullet to Braden Point in front of the net. And we've all seen it a million times and we all still bite on it.
Yeah.
Because of just how he's able to give out bad information and essentially deceive people into thinking he's going to do something, and then he does something completely different. One of the best compliments a scout told me he could pay to a player is, this player doesn't make the right play, he makes the better play. That's kind of how I look at Kucherov. Like, you look at all these situations, you go like, what is Kucherov doing? Oh no, it's gonna, okay, that's what he, like, you have those moments all the time. That's why I think for me, Kucherov is always in the conversation. And I always love the conversation of who's the player that the NHL players admire. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, they'll always say, Crosby's impressive, et cetera, et cetera. But the one that they love watching, Nikita Kucherov, hands down.
Oh God. Yeah. He's a very dynamic player. He's one of the few. Draisaitl, another guy, unfortunately won't be part of the Four Nations, but part of that's political. And, it doesn't sound like it's going to change even for the Olympics for hockey.
Can I ask you a question? Someone, and this would never happen, but just as a piece of sort of talk radio fodder, what if they said that teams had for the Four Nations, because I'm with you, like, man, I'd love to see Draisaitl in this thing. There's a lot of players we'd like to see in this thing. How would you feel if they said each team can have 3 imports? what would your reaction be?
Well, how do you pick which team gets which import?
Well,
Like,
then you'd have to go through some kind of lottery. Who's picking first, second, third, fourth? I'm not sure. I guess like that's a real good point too. Like how would you go about doing it? But how would you just feel about the idea that you're allowed, okay, maybe 2 imports or 3 imports, whatever it's going to be? Would you like that? And do you think the players would go for it? Like Draisaitl gets drafted by Finland. Does he want to play?
Yeah,
because you're allowed imports.
Yeah, I think he'd probably play, but I don't think it'd mean as much because you're not Finnish.
Well, that's just it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's essentially an NHL tournament.
No, yeah, well, which is true. And that's valid because I'm not sure there's that many, Finns outside the NHL who would be on that team. So, or Swedes, right? Like most of the best players in those countries at this point are in the NHL. Yeah. So I get that it's an NHL tournament. I do think there's just something about representing your country, and so
absolutely. I just threw it out there as a way. I mean, the Team Europe was a way to get a lot of the stragglers in.
Honestly, I think doing a Team Europe again. That was so it wasn't like you're joining one country. It's just you're unified, and we got Germans and we got Slovaks and Slovenians or whoever. How it was, I'd actually be okay with that. I'd have no problem with that because. You know what? Like Leon Draisaitl, I talked to him today about it, and he's obviously going to watch, and he's quite looking forward to the Olympics because you get to represent your country and you get to be involved in it, right? And I understand why Canada Cup people rave about it, and there were 6 teams, right? There wasn't 8 teams, there wasn't 10 teams, there wasn't 12. I don't think in hockey you really need that for the most part. And it's like Anze Kopitar is never going to play in the Olympics, I don't think, because Slovenia is probably never going to qualify, right? So that's unfortunate for him. So I actually kind of liked when they did the Team Europe for that one. I wasn't a big fan of the young stars, to be honest, but I like the Team Europe.
Let me ask you about Team North America for a second. When all is said and done, and again, like Team North America achieved nothing. Like they didn't do anything in that tournament other than captivate everybody's imagination. Everybody fell in love with that team. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I wonder about, like I think that was it Team Canada 76 that has the most players of any international team in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Do you think when all is said and done, that Team North America from the World Cup of Hockey may have more Hall of Famers than Team Canada 76?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, McDavid will make it.
Like you look at the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Who's dominating the NHL right now and who's owning the NHL right now? It's Team North America.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
The guys are everywhere. Individual trophies, Stanley Cups, like all of it. Art Ross this, Hart Trophy that. It's all Team North America.
Like Connor Halley is a Hall of Famer. I don't think any of the defensemen will be though.
That's the one area I know.
Yeah. And then up front, I would say McKinnon, Matthews, McDavid for sure. Well, that's it. So you know what? I'm like, is Jack Eichel going to be a Hall of Famer? Maybe he'll need to do a little bit more. But so there's 7. How many? I'm assuming there was more than 7 from 90.
There was more on 76. Yeah, there's more on 76. So I'm just saying, like, is there a better team that achieved as little as North America, Team North America did at the World Cup of Hockey?
Well, I think it helped that you had McDavid and Matthews on 2 Canadian teams, right? They're playing in Toronto, they're playing in Edmonton. So the fans are like, oh my God. And they're obviously both very exciting. But those 2, I think, alone grabbed more of the attention. And they were exciting. They were super quick. And,
the way they played. Too, right? So where they played. Everyone loved. Like, here's the thing that I legitimately wondered about this, Jason. Given how everybody went crazy for Team North America. Everyone just loved the way that they were playing. And they were kids. They didn't know. Like, there wasn't just like, oh, don't try to make a move, just shoot, fire pad, hope for a rebound. Like, there was none of that. There was like, we're going to try things here. We're going to show off our skill set here. We're a high level players and we're kids and we're having fun. It completely captured the imagination of hockey fans in Canada and in the United States. If they would have went to the final against Team Canada, what would the crowd have done with that in Toronto?
Oh God, that one went nuts. I would. Well, no, they'd still.
But
Canadian.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
There's like I get it, like cheering for the Maple Leaf, and I understand all that. But everybody fell in love with this team. To me, it would have been one of the most unique buildings we've ever seen, because I really don't know how it would have split. Who would be cheering for Team North America? Who would be cheering for Team Canada? I really don't know.
I think when it comes down to it, people love the underdog until the underdog can win. And then they don't love them as much. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders used to be the fan. Like, everybody loves the Riders. And then they won a bit. Now they hate them. Right. And so I think that's kind of how it is in sports. You like it for a while until all of a sudden they're good. Then you're like, no, I don't really like it.
It's like when your hipster band all of a sudden sells 1 million copies and you're like, I don't like them anymore. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, what's the great Yogi Berra line? Nobody goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too popular.
Yeah, it's true. Can't get in. Jeff Merrick joins us from the Sheena, dailyfaceoff.com. Jeff, I want to get your thoughts for the Oilers. The trade deadline is officially a month away from today, but there's really only 2 weeks of hockey left because of the 2-week break in between. What do you see as Stan Bowman? Like, what should be their main priority to be looking at?
Oh boy. Well, they have a sort of a nice sort of situation here where they can have a look-see at John Klingberg and maybe say, hey, you know what? This is an asset-free player that we just acquired. And maybe that gives us all that we need and we don't need to have a look at our blue line anymore. I still do wonder if John Klingberg doesn't work out, then they're going after a defender. I think that's pretty safe to say. I think that they'll probably look at one depth forward and probably one defenseman for a trade deadline. Like, I don't think that Stan Bowman needs to do any sort of major surgery whatsoever on this team. Do you? Like, if anything else, all you have to do is sort of nerf the world around them, bubble wrap everything. Just your main thing is just try to stay healthy for playoffs. Like, what you need to win a Stanley Cup is right there. I don't know if they need to go out there to the marketplace and try to bring in some high price help. It's a depth forward, and it's maybe someone on the blue line if John Klingberg doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a left defenseman for sure. They don't really have any left depth anywhere in the organization. I think they need a winger. Like Trent Frederick checks a lot of boxes. They need some physicality. They need a little bit of speed, and he can chip in enough, right? Because ideally you'd love to get a legit top line scorer. There's not many of those available, and but I think they need a little bit more speed and physicality up front.
The only thing about Frederick is I just want more face-off wins. Again,
but
nitpicking.
He's only taken 200 face-offs, right?
Give me some more wins. I agree with you on the toughness. Just give me some wins.
But isn't he more of a winger? He's more of a winger, though. He's only taken 200.
He's a center/winger, mainly used on the wing, mainly used in an F1 role for the Boston Bruins. But that sort of winks at an even bigger point/question. If Trent Frederick is available, what does that mean for the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, well,
like,
who knows? Is Brad Marchand available?
I'll tell you what, man. I was having a conversation with someone the other day who said, if I'm the Dallas Stars, I'm doing whatever it takes to try to get. If Boston falls out of it, that's the team. That's the team. And Jim Nill, even though they already made the move with San Jose, now with Heiskanen out, don't be surprised if he uses all the LTIR space that he can, and everybody's back for the first game of playoffs, including Tyler Seguin. I know you'd have to give up a lot, but if Boston makes that decision, how does Brad Marchand look in green?
Well, he'd be interesting. Like, I'm curious to see how Marchand looks in the upcoming Four Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm kind of curious where they're going to play, right? Like, what do you think Canada's like? Who's McDavid going to play with?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those situations too. And the other thing is, like, who's gonna be able to adapt to a new position, right? Who's going to be able to? This has always been, even though Hockey Canada sort of strayed from it a little bit. I mean, Hockey Canada's most successful, Team Canada's most successful when they just follow the skill adapts motto, right? Oh, you're a first line center here. Yeah, now you're a third line winger. and who has boo-boo face about it. And generally Canadians don't. You know, like the only time I can really, and I'm sure there have been some, but I mean, you can recall 1998 when, you know, Patrick Waugh essentially said, if I'm going, that means I'm playing every single game. Sorry, Marty Brodeur. Like, that's the way you're going to get me to go play in Nagano in 1998. But generally that doesn't happen with the Canadian players. That to me is the big curiosity is who's going to play a role that's completely different to how they play in the NHL.
Jeffrey, who are you picking in the Super Bowl?
I know like 2/3 of the square root of Sweet FA about football, so I will defer to you on that. But I did want to leave you with an idea because I knew you were going to ask me something about the Super Bowl. My kids are cheering for the Chiefs, by the way, for whatever that counts as. So my buddy Matt does these parties every year at the Super Bowl. Maybe you've heard of this one before. So what they do is they've been doing this for like, no joke, 20 years, Jason.
Like the squares?
No. Here's what they do. You'll love this. Think about this one for a second. So they put out, it's usually Matt and his brother that host. They put out the big spread, chili and chips and ribs and the whole deal, right?
Yeah.
Pizza, beer, the whole deal. So everybody puts in $100. And right before kickoff, everybody weighs themselves. And then they start eating and drinking. And at the end of the game, everybody gets back on the scale, and whoever's put on the most weight gets the pot.
That's disgusting. like honestly.
I know, but the thing is, they do it for the Super Bowl and the Grey Cup every year.
Oh my God.
So it's not just that they do it once.
If they've done it. Does the
twice.
person who weighs the least come in with an advantage? Because they have
Well, it's funny because a lot of them have like it's happened over the years, right? So they have like deliberate strategies of what they're having that day, how they hydrate, what you stay away from right away, which fills you up too much, what you eat the night before. Like a lot of these guys have it like right down to a science.
Now, do they
for them for how they're doing it?
Now, do they check when they do the second weigh-in to ensure that they're not filling their pockets with things to add their weight on?
Like guys at training camp in the NHL,
exactly. Yeah.
add on the weight.
Suddenly the guy goes, "Oh, just we'll go to the wash." Yeah. The guy's wearing 2 extra pair of sweatpants, right? It's looking like Struddy before it goes coaching. So
just gonna have a quick skirt. I'll be right back in a second. Get on the scale. Oh, don't worry about it, boys. Yeah, I would imagine they use the honor system, but I guess when there's money involved, there's probably no honor.
There's always a few.
Would you do that? I mean, I would never do that. First of all, because I'd lose. I couldn't eat that much.
I wouldn't do.
Could you do it?
Eater. Like I can drink lots. I'm not that big of an eater. So, but I don't like. I'm not a big fan of. My weight has been pretty consistent for 10 years, give or take 1 or 2 pounds. So but I don't think that I wouldn't win. Like I'd be Kramer. I'd walk in. Here's my money. I'm out.
I think the most that anyone has won is $1,700.
Still a lot of money just for one
cash.
Yeah,
for one day. Yeah, just hop on the treadmill the next day. You know, that's it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, $1,700 for one day of overeating.
Buy some personal training. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Awesome, Jeffrey.
So
thank you.
I offer you that as my parting gift.
Well, we'll see. Somebody out there would dominate. It sure wouldn't be me though, but would be curious.
No, it wouldn't be me either.
Yeah, no. Have a good one, my man.
Thanks, pal. Be good. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, that's Jeff Merrick from Daily Faceoff. That's a fun contest, but I think it's gross. But I guess for $1,700, like, hey, that's a pretty big win. If all you got to do is eat some food, but I'm sure there's strategy in it. We might have to dig into that. Like, what would be the strategy? What do you avoid early on? Because you don't want to fill yourself up. So are you not drinking? Right? Because you feel like you're definitely probably not having, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think what food fills you up the most. Like cheesy stuff, nachos, heavy meat. I have no idea. It's a good question. Maybe our next guest will know, right? She has to eat a lot of carbs. Maybe she'll know. I don't know if she's ever. I don't think professional athletes are ever vying to see how much weight they can gain unless you're an offensive lineman. Maybe we should ask Eddie Steele. Do you think we could play D-line and O-line? What did when you want to put on some weight, what's the best way to do it quickly? We'll find out. We'll probably find out what's the best way to take it off afterwards. That our next guest can talk about. on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 9th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with promo code GAME25. Order at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using promo code GAME25. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Hey, it's Andrew Walker, host of the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show, which you can check out before all the games this season. A big thank you to Cross Mitsubishi for their support. We are Sports 1440, Edmonton sports leader.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EPCOR. Stormwater ponds in Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a community link or city rink that's safe for you. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
So Friday continues on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. How are you? It's game day. Oilers taking on the Colorado Avalanche. And Stuart Skinner will be starting in goal for the Oilers. No lineup changes for their forwards. Meanwhile, for Colorado, I highly recommend, if you want later on in the 3 o'clock hour, we'll go through the article I have up in my game day where I break down the first shot. It has it the first shot, or sorry, not first shot, but goal allowed in the first 3 shots of a game. As mentioned, I think people are going to be surprised how many games in the NHL this year have a goal scored within the first 3 shots. Well, on one team's first 3 shots, not the total first 3 shots, because if I get one and Connor gets one and then I get another one, that's 3 shots. I mean, the first 3 shots that your team faces. How about 40? In the league has played 869 games. 406 of them have had a goal where one team has scored within their first 3 shots of the game. That's 46.7%. It happens. And there's actually been 32 games where one team has allowed 2 or more goals on the first 3 shots. Obviously 3 being the most. I think that happened once. So the Oilers, by the way, have not had a game where they allowed 2 goals on the first 3 shots this year. Now, there was the one game a few years ago. I think Mikko Koskinen allowed, did he not allow 4 goals on 4 shots? I think he did. So you might have PTSD from that, Oiler fans. We'll break down the Oilers and everything else a little bit later on about that. But now we welcome in Olympic gold medalist. She's also a mental coach. Joins us every Friday. Lori-Ann Munzer. Lori-Ann, how you doing?
Hey, happy Friday, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm good. We just had Jeff Merrick on.
That was quite the conversation.
Now I know it. I don't know if you ever needed to quote gain weight a lot in your off-season training. You obviously wanted to get stronger. And pro athletes, you can eat a lot, and you do have to eat a lot when you're training as much as you train. Did you find, was there ever really any good food that you're like, God, I love this, but I actually gained too much weight quickly on it? Like, is there a food at a Super Bowl party? If you were at one of these parties where you wanted to gain weight, what's the food to eat?
Oh, that's a really good question, because sprinting is a little bit different than if you're a linebacker or if you're doing endurance events like 100 kilometers or 100 miles, running or cycling. I don't know. I would be going for the guacamole. I'd be going for the tacos. I would be going for the meat.
Oh, yeah.
I love like the spaghetti, the lasagna. Sometimes they put out the spread with that. Probably forget about the garlic bread, but
yeah, because the bread would fill you up too fast.
It
right?
would. It'd be sort of like popcorn or cheesy,
yeah.
kind of airless, not a much. Sort of like those, do you know those rice discs?
Yeah, yes.
It's like, oh my God, the bodybuilders eat them. And it's like you're eating just, I think, to enhance your jaw muscles, right? Because there's not much to it. There's nothing, there's no calories. It's like iceberg lettuce.
Yeah.
It's full of water.
Right.
And it's like, So yeah, I was on a seafood diet. Everything I saw, I wanted to eat. But aside from that, it was just input and output. It was energy expenditure.
So if you went to one of these parties and I got to gain all this weight, then what's the best exercises to do the following days to shed the weight quickly? Is it just, I want to get in, I'm going to do some cardio, I'm on the bike, I'm putting a garbage bag on me and away I go? What are you doing to lose weight?
I don't think you can really gain that much in one day and then lose it in one day. But if you're looking to shred stuff, I would do the HIIT workout, high intensity and multiple, one right after the other. You'll probably be able to crank out 10 and then you'll drop. And I would probably do, if you're...
Do you have a favorite HIIT workout?
Well, I love rocking it on the elliptical machine. If you ever find me at Millennium Place, I do 1 minute intervals, but they're 1 minute where you start at 60%, you warm up for 5 minutes, and then you go a minute at 70%, a minute at 80%, a minute at 90%, and then you come back down to 60 for 2 minutes, and then you go 70, 80, 90, and I'll do 5 sets in a row.
How do you know if you're at 70%? 70% of what?
I have based it on heart rate because I have a Garmin. So I have my heart rate zones. Zone 1 is 55 to 75%. Zone 2 is 76 to 84. And then zone 3 is 85% above. I can't do 5 zones like the triathletes. It's too much of a spread. So if you have smaller margins, either I'm working in zone 1 or zone 3. And then it's also based on RPM. So just like on my bicycle, I'm spinning 90 RPM.
Yes.
And I'm also, where do I start? I start at 80 RPMs on the elliptical on a level that I know that I can truck along good and clock out 5 miles in 30 minutes. So it's a really good progression. Every minute I add 5 RPM. So I go from 80 to 85 RPM, 85 to 90, 95 is tops.
Now, why do you like the elliptical better than just a straight run on the treadmill?
I'm not a runner. I'm a little too big for a runner. My knees don't necessarily like it.
Yeah.
The
Fair
elliptical is soft and forgiving. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Elliptigo. It is, it's like an elliptical machine, but on 3 wheels. Or is it 2 wheels? I think it's on 3 wheels.
Oh, is that the one? So they go on the road with that?
Yes. Oh, my buddy in Toronto has one. So
yeah, I think I've seen a video of that movie.
Oh, they're unbelievable. And I mean, he's upgraded parts, he's changed parts, and it's just like cycling. You can do different gear sizes. He just loves it. He will go for a boot around his neighborhood. It's not very busy, but he will go booting around the neighborhood, and it is just wild.
Is there brakes on it? Because that's the thing. If I'm on the road, how am I
Yeah.
stopping?
Yeah,
There are
it's
brakes?
not like a track bike.
Oh, okay.
You'd have the levers as well. So yeah,
I'm elliptic go.
a lip to go.
No, the elliptical definitely is easier on your joints. Like I'm not a runner for any long distance. Unless you've got to, like, some people do it for the relaxation, good for them. Like,
Yes.
I just get too bored. I don't like it. I'd rather do weight training or even just body weights and doing different things like that than running. I'll do some sprint training, which I find gets your heart rate up, and
So
it's
good.
way harder, but
It is.
it's shorter distance. And so I find I can convince myself to run 50 meters rather than run like a lot easier than running 5K.
It's a lot easier. But here's a really cool challenge I found. It's called the Backyard Ultra. And you run just over 4.1 miles, so just over 6 kilometers every hour until the last man standing or last woman standing. And it's like, Jason, I've got this in my head and I cannot get it out. And it's like the challenge of that would be
Okay, wait a sec.
incredible.
You have to run what?
4.167 miles. So that's just over 6 kilometers
Every hour.
Every hour on the hour.
So if we start at noon, I run my 6K. And if I run my 6K and let's say a 5-minute pace, right? So I'm done in a half an hour. I get to rest for half an hour.
Absolutely. Yeah. But if you run it in 50 minutes,
You only get to
have
rest for 10.
minutes and then you go again. Yeah. So pretty much a flatter course. And
you've done this?
No,
Oh.
I'm thinking about it and I cannot get it out of my head. I'm not a runner, but I'm going, maybe I should do this. Because you'll run, if you run 24 hours, you run 100 miles.
Yeah.
And but it's a challenge of it.
There's lots of committed runners, I think, that could do that for at least 12 hours. Like the committed runners, for sure. Don't you think?
I don't know. I'm really contemplating, if I don't run it, is go and volunteer at it. Because then I could get to see it like in action. They have tents up, they have crews coming in, sleeping bags, the whole 10 yards.
No, the theory of it, I get. It could be a lot of running, but like the good runners would be done in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So that's the crazy part.
Probably.
Right.
Yeah. But how long can they sustain it for?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like my quickest 5K, and I hadn't run 5K in 20, and then me and Struddy had a stupid idea a few summers ago, and we're just like, oh, we're going to run 75K this month. And so we decided running 5Ks a day. And I hadn't ran in years. And by the end of the month, I was down to 21 minutes and 40 seconds for 5K.
Oh, that's trucking along.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I could, but I'm like, that was just 5 and then be like tired. But if I got to rest for 40 minutes, the next time might be 23. And yeah, you wonder how long. It's just more so the wear and tear in your knees and your calves.
Probably. Yeah. And then the other thing is, how long can you fuel yourself and still keep it down? Because you got to have the fuel to be able to sustain yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, there's a whole bunch of other
stuff. Like those ultra marathon people, like, and one of my buddies who did it. I remember talking to him the first time he did an Ultraman. He actually did it in Conan. I just went there. And I remember we had Mike on the show. And he talked about how, so do you know what the ultra marathon is?
Is that like, how long is that?
Oh,
100 miles?
You swim 10K and then you bike like 170. That's the first day. Then the next day you bike 275K.
Oh, you're
and then
talking
the third
about that
day,
one. Oh,
you
yeah.
run 2 marathons.
Yes. Yeah.
And so he told me by like the third day he's running the marathon and he's like hallucinating as he's running. And I'm just like, how is that fun? And so I want to challenge myself. I'm like, oh my God. So there are people that could do that for quite a while.
I met Andrew Ellis in Penticton, good friend of Steve King, who has done all kinds of triathlon, Ironman announcing and that. And he won it. And it's like, oh my God, like it's a double Ironman back to back over 3 days. It's like, okay, that's crazy. But it was so interesting hearing him talk about the training and just everything that's all involved, the fueling of it, your equipment, just making sure. I mean, they don't put the swim last, they put the swim first for obvious health reasons, because you want to make sure that you can finish it. So let's go when you're the freshest. But that's absolutely wild as well.
Now, I want to get to the upcoming break. The Oilers and the Avs both play their final game, and then they're off. Now, obviously, McKinnon, Makar, McDavid, a few others on both of those teams are going to go play. But a lot of the other players will have. Now, for the Oilers, so they play tonight, and then they're not back at practice until a week next Tuesday. So, they've been like 11 days off. Guys are going to go on a trip, different places. For an elite level athlete, you get that time off. What? Now, each guy's probably going to feel different, but you take 7 days off and then you're like, okay, you know what? I got to train once. Like they have a practice on Tuesday and Wednesday and next Friday. Do they need to do any workout in those 7 days, or can they literally just take the time off because they're in such good shape?
Well, you could do two things. You could literally just take the time off because it's going to do your body and your mind, especially your mind, wonders. The other thing is you can also do all of the other activities that maybe you normally don't get to do while you're in season, so to speak, right? And it's just doing some of the off stuff. You may go on a hike, you may go on a long distance trip, whatever it is. And it's just that will actually do you a world of good. But I think for athletes where that's a new thing, it's harder to do than some of the other athletes who understand and know what to do with the break, because a lot of times the athletes are lost. That's the biggest thing, is going, I don't have any training. And then the panic, the doubt, the worry sets in. And what it is mitigating it by, if you're used to a schedule of your schedule being really packed and full and every minute accounted for, do the same thing, but think about all of the other different activities that you could do, that you want to do, that you haven't had time to do. And when you bring that in, that's actually the magic formula right there.
Okay. So a lot of it's maybe more mental than physical.
It's all mental.
Sometimes, I'm falling behind, I got to keep up with the Joneses, and, so you got to know your body a little bit. Like, obviously they're not going to go just crazy, fall off the wagon and just, eat
well, they may
junk.
go do the party and do the try.
Yeah. Today's athletes, you talk to them and maybe one day or two, like,
it's not
a lot of, a lot of them seem to wait and do it, if they win the off season or something, which is fine. But, the break you talk about, like, just, can you explain to people how the body can recover, like a week off of not doing any training, and just mentally it's refreshing, but physically, how much better did you feel when you come back after a week off of doing nothing?
When you come back with that week off, the first couple of days are a bit of a trough. It's a lot slower. You're not boom back exactly where you were when you left off. And the body is so resilient that it will come back, especially if you're a high level athlete versus if you're just starting out. Taking the time off, if you're just starting out, is probably one of the worst things you could do, because you're starting to get that momentum, that habit of going, and then all of a sudden, boom, you stop, and then it's nothing. So as an elite athlete or a regularly trained athlete that has always been doing that, is just, number one, it's the mental break. And it's just, I've always said to athletes, it's better to go in undertrained than overtrained. And the hard part is with athletes is thinking, oh my gosh, if I missed a day or 2 days because I've been sick or ill, they go, well, I got to double up. And that's like the worst thing you can do. Stick to the schedule. But number one, is your schedule written out for the whole month or the next 2 weeks? And it's about sticking to it and just coming back to the basics part of it.
That reminder of, better to be undertrained than overtrained. Now, obviously, we're talking like you can't come in at 50% and be, hey, that's way better than overtraining, right?
No,
You're talking, and maybe I'm not 100, but I'm like at 95 or 92 or something.
Even like 80, 85%.
Okay.
So it's like your buddy who was in Kona doing the Ultraman. It's better to go in undertrained than having too much. So number one, you're chomping at the bit. You're ready to get going. It's just like, oh, come on, let me at it. Let me go. And then it's just, you will get better over time, because as the distances get longer, especially for the endurance sport, that time and that not being like right on the edge of going over the limit is so important, because if you start going over the limit, that's when you're done. You're cooked. You're not going to have the performance. You may end up having muscles cramping on you, and you're just like, forget it. Not able to do it.
Lorianne, great stuff. Enjoy that. Do you do a Super Bowl party?
I would love to. Anybody having a party?
No. You don't just host one?
Well, we used to go over to my mom's when
okay.
she was alive. So she passed away a couple of years ago. And
well, you should have just started the tradition yourself. Got to keep it going.
I know, but it was always fun with mom, because it was just, we kind of have one eye on the television, seeing what the game is. She'd be asking what's the score, and then who's playing on the halftime. And then she's got to go down for dinner, and then we're sticking around to watch the halftime show. And so
Kendrick should be good at halftime.
Yep.
He should be pretty good.
Looking forward to it.
Who are you picking?
Chiefs. Hello. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
of course.
Okay. The three-peat. Well, never happened in the NFL. I think a lot of people are hoping for it. We'll see if it happens.
We're going to see, right? It's like laying it on the line.
No. Well, hey, you know what? Both teams are good. The spread is basically nothing at one point. But it's hard for me to go against the Chiefs. I can see why people pick the Eagles. I get it. But, man, the Chiefs, until you beat the champs, they're still the champs.
Absolutely. And this is one where it truly is going to be that mental game. Everything that will come out will be mental decisions, the mindset.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the one area where the Chiefs are they don't make many key mistakes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Rarely do they beat themselves.
Yeah.
So Lorianne Munzer joins us every Friday here on Sports 1440. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Colorado Avalanche down at Rogers Place. Puck drop 7 o'clock. Our pregame coverage with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson gets going at 6 right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Penguins in New York taking on the Rangers at 5. Sidney Crosby will not go in that one. Jets host the Islanders. Preds taking on the Blackhawks, and the Kings host the Stars. In the association tonight, you've got the Raptors in OKC taking on the Thunder. That gets going at 6. Elsewhere, Sixers take on the Pistons. Nets host the Heat. Bucks in Atlanta. And the Suns taking on the Jazz. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in Calgary. We're meeting with the Hitmen tomorrow night. It's Louis' birthday as the Oil Kings host the Warriors, presented by Sports 1440, 7 o'clock puck drop. Then in the BCHL, Spruce Grove hosting Brooks. That's at 7. Then at 8 o'clock, Trail hosting the Sherwood Park Crusaders. In the AJ Canmore's interim Heller, Creighton Valley hosting Whitecourt. Bonneville meets Camrose, and GP and Devon. All those games will start at 7. Golden Bears hockey team in Winnipeg taking on the Bisons. Tonight at 6, tomorrow at 1. The Pandas hosting Manitoba at the Drake. 7 tonight. 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the Saville Center. This weekend, it's volleyball action with the Bears and Pandas hosting the UBC Thunderbirds. Tonight, it starts at 6, tomorrow at 7. And the McEwen hockey team home and home with the Dinos. For the guys' side, it's tonight in Calgary, tomorrow here. For the women's team, tonight in Calgary, tomorrow here. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from members of the Edmonton Oilers. Also talk some Kansas City Chiefs with Matt Derrick, and it's another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 9th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with promo code GAME25. Order at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using promo code GAME25. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
A bedtime story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
We now have a post-game show on Sports 1440. After the next game, tune in to Andrew Walker as he breaks down the game with you. The post-game show brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery, St. Albert.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs and up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back. With Encore by EPCOR. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Familiar flavors need a refreshing new twist in the Varsity. Nestled in White Mud Crossing, the Varsity boasts a delicious menu filled with your favorites, like endless forever fries with every burger, crafted with a unique new touch. Enjoy the welcoming atmosphere you know and love. Now with fresh, locally sourced ingredients and exciting new choices. And the best part is, your wallet will be happy too. Order online at varsityburgers.ca or visit the Varsity today and discover how something new can feel oh so wonderfully familiar.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, how you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. And we're going to get to the oil report now, brought to you by, maybe we'll get to it later. Cons, do we have a non-blocker dry settle? Oh, we do. Okay, let's get to it now. We'll get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. They are 13-time award winner in excellence and service. Also, number one in sales for all Volvo dealerships in Canada, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Or right now, get the XC90 plug-in hybrid for 1.49%, and you can save $4,500. Leon, of course, one of the few superstars who won't be going to Four Nations, as Germany, of course, is not in it. And he's just talking about kind of, how he looks at tonight, knowing that he's got a 2-week break. Is it easier to get fired up for this game? You don't have anything to wait for. Is it harder? How does he approach it?
Yeah, I'm excited for a little break. Of course, for the guys that are in the tournament, it's going to be a great experience, and getting to represent your country and play for it against the other teams is always a great honor, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm looking forward to the break.
What about the Oilers, who have made quite the charge to the top of the standings in the Pacific Division? They have gained, they were 9 points back at one point. They're 8 up on Vegas, they're 2 up on Vegas. They were 9 back at one point, and they have a game in hand. They win tonight, they'll be up by 4, and Vegas does have one more game. So even if they win, if the Oilers win tonight, they guarantee themselves heading into the break in first in the Pacific. And, kind of how has he looked at that, and how important is that to continue?
Yeah, I mean, it was always the goal to be up there and lead the division and win the division, and that's going to be a fight until the end. We know that, but obviously not the start we wanted. Talked about it a lot, but I think this was always the game plan for us as a group in here.
For sure, and it should be. You have to have certain goals, right? Like the goal to win the Stanley Cup, sure, but there's got to be steps along the way. And you can make your life easier on yourself if you win your division, because now you get home ice. If you win your first round, well, then you're guaranteed at least for 2 rounds. And we'll see. Can they catch Winnipeg? Maybe. We'll see. His defensive effort this season has been excellent for Draisaitl. Does he correlate that to more offensive chances?
It's obviously a cliche to say good defense leads to offense, but that's certainly the case. And I've been obviously valuing that a lot this season, and I think it has helped me. At the same time, when you're defending hard and coming back, you give up some offense as well, and that's part of it too. So I think it goes both ways a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. What about MacKinnon? How does he watch the scoring race?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't aware where I'm at, but there's so many great players up there. It's so tight. This is a 1-2 game swing that can go in any direction, and I'm aware of that. And this is not the time right now to, throw every egg in the basket and try and be the leader. Whoever it ends up being is deserving of it, and there's lots of guys in the race.
Well, I don't know about lots. There's MacKinnon, there's Draisaitl, there's Kucherov for sure, and Connor McDavid. I would think that's it. All right, Mitch Marner is 12 points back. I don't think Mitch Marner is that good that he can gain 12 points on MacKinnon, Draisaitl, Kucherov, and McDavid in a span of 29 games. I don't see it. It's too much. So, even McDavid, 12 points in 28 games, like to gain 12 points on a guy in 28 games, if that guy's going to score, let's say, MacKinnon just stays at his pace, right? And now he's scoring in his 28 games. Well, he's getting 42 points. That means McDavid would have to get 54 points in his final 28, almost 2 points a game. So yeah, is it possible? Sure. It's just really difficult. And then what will be interesting to me is McDavid doesn't get a break for this Four Nations. And Knobloch was asked about that. And he said it is something that you look at. And is there a way, obviously less practice time coming back, but will we see McDavid be rested at an odd game here or there in April? Like the Oilers play the Sharks 3 times in April. Now, I know the very last game of the year they play the Sharks. Now, if first place is on the line, you might play him, but you might not and say, we probably still maybe could be the Sharks even without Connor McDavid, right? So, I don't think he's going to play all 28 final games. Unless, you're right there. Now, if Leon Draisaitl was tied with Nathan MacKinnon, had 1 game remaining, would you play him? I would. I'd play him until he got a point, and then he could sit out. I would, honestly. I think stuff like that does matter. I know, it's not what matters. It does matter. Make no mistake. You battle that hard, you get that close, of course you'd want it. So, you can limit minutes here and there, and, we've seen that in certain games and blowouts, but, other times, like McDavid, he's in great shape. He plays lots. And what's unique about McDavid is historically every year in March, he rats it up. It's his most productive month of the season. And in April and in May when they had the regular season in 2021. Right? He gets better probably because his cardio and conditioning just elevates and allows him to stay at a high level. But this year, lots of guys are getting a 2-week break. So does that even it out? Maybe. But I'm kind of fascinated to see the yearly march by McDavid which has been phenomenal. Do we see that again? I wouldn't bet against it because we've never not seen it. Right? But that just shows you kind of his conditioning and where he's at, that every March McDavid finds a way to ramp it up. So 833-401-1440. A few other things about the orders. Hey, Gregor, who do you think Colorado's starting in goal tonight? Well, here's some numbers for you, because today, you know what? I want to call it maybe kind of debunking myths a little bit. So another one that's out there is, the orders, some no-name rookie goal, and he's going to stone the orders. Now, has it happened? Yes. Dostal, the rookie, remember when the orders lost 4-3, Dostal stopped 46 out of 49 shots. So has it happened? 100%. In the last 6 years, do you know what the Oilers' record is against rookie goaltenders? They're 33-8. And of those 8 losses, only 4 games did the rookie goalie have a save percentage above .909, which, isn't stellar. Now, you had the Dostal game, was great. Last year, Annunen and Tarasov. Now, Annunen stopped 29 of 30, and Daniil Tarasov stopped 29 of 31. And then in 2021, Alex Nedeljkovic stopped 31 of 33. So 4 times in 41 games has a rookie goaltender really kind of stoned the orders. Can it happen? Yes. Is it normal? No. Is it rare? Yes. So I'll say this. So tonight, the Avs have 2 options in goal. They can continue to go with Mackenzie Blackwood. Now, Mackenzie Blackwood has started 21 of the last 26 games for Colorado since he was acquired. Now, part of that's due to injury. Scott Wedwidge is being hurt, and he's not healthy right now. So Trent Miner is their backup. Trent Miner has made 1 NHL start. That came last month, January 7th, a month to the day, against the Chicago Blackhawks. The Avs, they lost 3-1, and Miner allowed 3 goals on 20 shots. The Avs only scored once. Rookie goalie, but nonetheless, that's his only start against the 31st place Chicago Blackhawks. Are you going to start him tonight at home for the Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl? You could, but because you have a 2-week break coming up, I think they're going to roll with Mackenzie Blackwood. And that would be his 7th consecutive start, 8 of the last 9 games he started due to injury. Last night he won in Calgary, only allowed 2 goals. Guess what happened last night for Mackenzie Blackwood? He allowed a goal in the first 3 shots of the game. But the Avs did come back and win. And I think it'll be Blackwood. And if it is Blackwood and Stuart Skinner, you were talking 2 of the hottest goalies in the National Hockey League over the last 11 weeks in the league. So here's where they rank between the 2 of them. You have Skinner has a .918 save percentage, which has him 6th in the NHL. Blackwood is 4th at .923. Goals against average, Skinner is 5th. Blackwood is 4th, 2.22 to 2.29. So both of them very good in that time span. And so talking to Stu Skinner, he knows what the numbers are, the other guys, right? And which guys are playing hot, and you like to challenge yourself. So Skinner has actually beaten the Avs both times this year. Both times he played on the second half of back-to-back in Colorado and beat them. And that included the game when the Oilers were down 3-0. Came back and won. Remember, Arvidsson scored late. That's a goal Blackwood would like back. Right? Came down the wing, just kind of a clapper from the outside, beat him. And then the Oilers scored twice in the second before Evan Bouchard had the game winner with 6:55 to go in the third. So I think it's a really good goaltending matchup. The Avs, they looked really good. Their top line took the game over in the second period last night. Jared Bednar said, hey, our leadership group, McKinnon, Makar, they kind of took the game over because they had a terrible first period in Calgary. And Marty Natras, 2 goals and an assist. McKinnon, 3 assists. Makar, goal and an assist. I'm not saying HS is ranting just yet, but that's kind of the bread and butter for the Avs. They got Casey Middlestad, who's their second line center. There's talk that they're trying to upgrade there. Like Middlestad, Pearson, and Drouin are their second line. Like the Draisaitl line could eat them for lunch, honestly. If you're going McKinnon versus McDavid, Draisaitl's a huge mismatch in Edmonton's favor. Then you've got Drury centering Colton. That's Ross Colton and Miles Wood. Solid third line. And then you have Kelly, O'Connor, and Kiviranta as the fourth line. No Manson tonight on the back end as he's banged up. So Taves and Makar. Girard was with Malinsky, and then Shillington and DeHaan will be DeHaan, as the second pair. Oilers, skaters, no different. The only change will be Skinner for Pickard from the victory over Chicago. And I'm curious to see. I think it's going to be Blackwood. Like, are you going to go with Trent Miner? Because if they do, the odds of the Oilers winning go way up, just based on history, man. 33-8 the last 6 years, including 3-0 this season against rookie goaltenders for the Edmonton Oilers. If you're that concerned about rookies and no names, you might want to be like, well, maybe it's not as big of a concern as I think it is, because the numbers would tell you that it's not. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll get to more on the Oilers. We'll hear from John Klingberg a little bit later on. Also, Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest. We will get the inside scoop. Andy Reid has always come up with some different game plans every year. Their offense, Spagnuolo. We found out yesterday from Matt Verderam that Spagnuolo's the DC has never allowed a 100-yard rusher in the playoffs. That's been the bread and butter of the Eagles. Can Barkley go off for 100 plus? If he does, obviously the Eagles' chances of winning go up. But Spagnuolo and that defense, they were pretty good. So we'll break that down. We got Evan Rayall joining us from Colorado a little bit later on, talk about the Avs. Marty Necas, it's got to be pretty happy for him getting to play alongside Nathan McKinnon. Hey, as good as Sebastian Aho is, he ain't Nathan McKinnon. Speck and Button and Mitchell and more on a busy Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
When you live in Northern Alberta, you need a vehicle that is built for this climate. That's the all-new 2025 Jeep Compass, and you'll find it at St. Albert Dodge. Now, what can I say? It's a Jeep. It's a 4x4, so it's totally at home driving on snow and ice. And it's got some great standard features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, keyless entry, and heated front seats. As I said, Northern Alberta. And all starting from just $34,900. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca. You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See, my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vancelia. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvancelia.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440. The last home game for a month for the Edmonton Oilers. So I was looking, very few tickets even available for people secondhand to get online tonight. McKinnon Makar in town probably plays a part in it, but only one home game in a month, and all of a sudden, everyone's, oh, geez, I want to go. It's a Friday night. The weather has broke. It's not minus 30. You're not going to be, wearing balaclavas to the game tonight. So that's a good sign. So enjoy that. We'll talk more about that. But also this weekend, it is Super Bowl 59 as the Kansas City Chiefs look to make history and become the first team to go back to back to back. Easier said than done. Let's get to our NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring HVAC installers and plumbers. Starting bonus goes to the right candidate. You get strong benefits, RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply today at legacyheating.ca. And to talk all things Super Bowl and the Chiefs from Chiefs Digest, Matt Derrick joins us once again. Matt, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty well. I've mostly survived Super Bowl week, and now it's just a waiting game, waiting for the game on Sunday.
It is, you have all the, I will say, at least from a distance, like there didn't seem to be as much lunacy around media day. Maybe I missed it. It seemed a little bit more controlled. Am I right on that, or did I just miss the lunacy?
It's interesting because I usually, one of the lunacies of opening night that usually goes viral are the costumes and things of that nature. I think I only saw two. I think there was a space alien, and then somebody was dressed up as basically Will Smith's genie from Aladdin. That was a hard look to pull off. Didn't quite have the body for it. Probably shouldn't have done it, but you still get the oddball question. So there was a lot, even extending into some of the availabilities during the week. I know some of the Chiefs players all got asked about if they had any crypto and stock investments, and I guess it's Super Bowl week. You can talk about any topics, but football I thought was mostly supposed to be the focus.
Yeah, no, it should be. And for the most part, it is. I saw there was one clown who was asking guys about who's your favorite ref and stuff. I watch the games, and I think that's another thing that kind of gets overblown a little bit. Now is there a call that goes the Chiefs' way every now and then? Sure. The difference is when calls go the other team's way, I don't think the other teams are as good as capitalizing on that opportunity. Whereas the Chiefs, if you get a call that goes their favor, they then march down the field and score. And that makes it much more of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And, and there's been a lot of debate about this back and forth. And, there's everyone coming forth with their, examination of the statistics and how fouls are called and when and everything. And I don't think anything's really proven anything. If anything, I mean, once again, it's Occam's razor. The most likely probability is the most likely. Is the most likely notion of what's going on. And the reality of it is that, if there was a conspiracy to help the Chiefs, we don't know about it. And you're right. I mean, to me, and this is an excellent example of just winning teams take advantage of the opportunities that they get. And teams that don't win, losing teams, they don't. And that's exactly the case. And sometimes they happen in great moments, but last year, for instance, I mean, even just missing calls, the Chiefs had, some serious self-inflicted turnovers last year, drops that by receivers that just turned into interceptions for the other team. I mean, if Kadarius Toney in Week 1 against the Detroit Lions last year had just literally knocked the ball to the ground, the Chiefs win. And instead, he bobbles it, the Lions get it, and they win the ball game off that turnover. Things happen. It's just how you deal with them and how you react. And that's the one thing that this team does better than anybody else. I mean, it just handles the punches and rolls on.
Well, we found out yesterday from Matt Verderam that the Chiefs in the playoffs under Spagnuolo have never allowed a rusher to get to 100 yards. And, and they faced some pretty good rushers in that time. So you look at this, the Eagles have a great offensive line. Obviously, Saquon Barkley's had an unreal season. What are you expecting from Spagnuolo and how he's going to limit the run game?
Yeah, because he's got a lot of different possibilities, and obviously blitzing Jalen Hurts can have its problems. I think the Chiefs would prefer to be able to try and get pressure on him with 4, which normally you think of that as being able to supplement your pass defense in your secondary, but obviously for the Chiefs, their idea is that they can get pressure with 4. Then they've got 7 guys who can be ready because the Eagles are a 50-50 team. I mean, they're going to run the ball a lot more than most teams do. The one thing that, Steve Spagnuolo's got is that he has a defensive backfield secondary that is just really tough and strong against the run. He's got a bunch of guys at safety and cornerback who aren't afraid to tackle. They're not afraid to get their nose in there. So if the Chiefs can, that defensive line with Chris Jones, Mike Dannon, George Karlaftis out on the edge, if they can, really plug up the holes against that Eagles offensive line that's got some injuries to deal with. If they can force Barkley to the outside, he's not going to have the easy matchups that he normally does. I mean, he's going to find that the Chiefs corners, safeties, linebackers, I think they're a better run defending group and better tackling group than he probably sees week to week. And that could be an absolutely huge part of this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. You look at Jalen Hurts and, his season, even his own receiver said, hey, we got to pass the ball better this year. Now, a few years ago in the Super Bowl, he was really good. That doesn't necessarily mean much. Their pass and attack and really their offensive coordinator is completely different. So when you look at the Eagles, and I think it's captain obvious for me to say, hey, force Jalen Hurts' arm to beat you rather than let the run game go. And so that's obvious. But what do you think they're seeing in Jalen Hurts and how is it just stunting and just, do you think they're going to be, heavy blitz package against Jalen Hurts? Because that pass game of the Eagles really hasn't kind of ever looked that great all season.
Yeah, I mean, it has been out of sync, and that's why I think that Steve Spagnuolo is going to be pretty selective in his blitzing and how frequently he goes after Hurts. Just because, obviously Jalen's stats this year against the blitz are really good. I mean, he's been a really, really good quarterback in that regard. And so that's a strength of his. I mean, it's the same thing with Mahomes. I mean, you have a hard time blitzing him because you bring that extra defender, he's going to find the open space. And Jalen's the same way. And I think Jalen also has a little bit of that Mahomes quality in that I think the Super Bowl 2 years ago, a great example that he's a primetime player. I mean, he had his best performance maybe of his career on the biggest stage. And, the Chiefs know that that's possible, that he could do that again. But you're right. I mean, I think they want to put the ball in his hands, but their ability to get, like I said, their ability to get pressure with 4 is going to be huge because, I think they're worried about, blitzing him too much, creating some opportunities that, he can find the open man. And I think, especially with his, it looks like his knee is not 100%. I think that not only are the Chiefs comfortable putting the game in the hands of, and the arm of Jalen Hurts, but I think they're willing to do it on his knees too. I mean, he hasn't been very good outside the pocket in the playoffs and on the move with the football. And I may go back to the injury, maybe not, but it certainly has been a winning formula so far. A successful formula. It hasn't been a winning formula for anyone, but they at least have been able to, get after Jalen Hurts. If you can force him out of the pocket with 4 and get him on the move, he hasn't been very good in the playoffs.
Looking to the Chiefs offense and their ability to just design plays to break down another defense. We saw it against Buffalo, right? They brought in Worthy. They use his speed and a lot of crossing patterns, and then it's layered crossing patterns. So if they take off, deep guys, now Worthy just runs like a 2-yard crossing pattern, but he gets the ball and then he's got 15, 20 yards of yak yards where no one touches him. And we saw that numerous times. So do you foresee, when you look at this Eagles defense, how do you expect the Chiefs to attack them?
Yeah, and you're right. The Andy Reid, I mean, that's the scary thing about him at a Super Bowl is he's had 2 weeks to break you down and figure out your weaknesses. And, he started watching film for the Super Bowl probably at 1 a.m. after the AFC Championship game. That's just how quickly he turns around and starts looking at the next opponent. And usually when you give Andy Reid that much time, he's going to find a way to pick you apart. Chiefs haven't really given any clues about what they're going to do, but you look at the Eagles, I do think that there's opportunities in the middle of the field, and for 2 particular players, Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. The Eagles have some injuries at the linebacker spot. Nakobe Dean is out. Oren Burks, who came in for Dre Greenlaw last year with the 49ers, and Travis Kelce had an absolute field day in the second half. That can be an absolutely favorable matchup. And I think that's the challenge is, the Eagles have, I think, a pretty good secondary, but in the middle of the field, if you're able to get the ball, your 2 best playmakers in Worthy and Kelce in those spots against some favorable matchups, some crossing routes, I think there's an opportunity there. But like I said, you give Andy Reid 2 weeks to watch you and look at your film, he's going to find your weak spot. And this team is so good at exploiting them. And obviously, they're fairly healthy right now. So they've got more speed at the receiver spot than they have had all season. And, one benefit of, the way that the Chiefs have won games this year is that, they haven't emptied out the playbook. They've got a lot of things, the tricks up their sleeves that they just haven't shown yet. And the AFC Championship game was a good example, but they've got more left than they just haven't thrown out there yet.
What's the biggest concern for the Chiefs heading into this game?
It's a crazy one to think about, but I think the Chiefs would love to be able to get off to finally a fast start in a Super Bowl. That has put them into deep holes in a couple of games, in the last 5 years. They've had 10-point deficits, in Super Bowl games and had to try to come back from that. And some of it stems back to Mahomes just not being very good in the first quarter of the Super Bowl. He's an emotional guy. He loves these games, but he can get overhyped. He's had turnovers. He's had just bad drives, mistakes. I think, hey, if Patrick Mahomes goes out and takes the Chiefs on a touchdown drive on his first possession, that's probably Katie barred the door. I mean, the Chiefs are going to probably just roll in this game. But if it takes a couple of drives for him to settle down and all of a sudden, they're down 10 points, yeah, that's a familiar situation for them, but you don't feel like you can get out of jail every single time, and it's going to catch up with you at some point. So to me, that's the one thing the Chiefs have to guard against is just another slow offensive start.
Has Mahomes talked about that as to why that's happened? Because in lots of other, like you saw against the Bills, they scored on their opening drive, right? Like it's, I get that it's Super Bowl, whatever, but it is a bigger stage. It's a stage you can win. They've been able to come back except against Tampa because they got waxed. But is there a reason why? Like, is it jitters? Like he's been there enough. You'd think that he would be able to be calm now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's one of the things that also makes him great is, obviously it's his adrenaline and his ability in big moments to have the energy and the strength to do things that maybe just doesn't normally do. But, we've seen it before. I mean, it's kind of just a tendency that sometimes in these games he is overhyped and a little emotional. And so he's just firing the ball with a little bit more mustard than usual and overthrows receivers or has some drops. I don't know if he's done anything necessarily to try and limit it. I don't know if there's mental exercises or sports psychology or anything like that he's done to try and, avoid that. But I mean, I know in his career, getting off the faster starts has always been one of his emphasis, and Super Bowl games more so. I don't know if there's anything. I mean, maybe to a degree, everybody's hyped, beginning a Super Bowl game. And for quarterbacks, it's really hard, I think, to just control those emotions. And for Patrick, I mean, he's fortunate that when he settled in to a routine in the Super Bowl, it usually goes pretty well.
Well, it should be. It's fascinating. How important is the three-peat? Like, is it just like all encapsulated in KC right now? Like, will this be incredibly disappointing for Chiefs fans if they don't win this one?
Oh, for Chiefs fans, it'll be crushing. I mean, this is definitely the thing that they've dreamed about all year long. I mean, the moment that Super Bowl ended last year, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were already talking about the three-peat. They've gotten this fan base hyped for it. And when this team went 50 years before even going to another Super Bowl, between Super Bowl 4 and 54. They've had some tough times. This is a fan base that went through a lot. And now, I mean, they're on a roll. Chiefs fans, I mean, Clark Hunt, the owner of the team, admits that, hey, he's a little spoiled by the success. They all are. But, you don't get an opportunity to make history very often. And, Chiefs fans get it. I mean, they know that, they probably never have another chance to get for a three-peat. There's no guarantee that, that you can even win another Super Bowl. I mean, I think they sort of understand that. And so that's why each one's been important to this fan base. But, the opportunity for the history for this franchise to be able to put itself in a class that, the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Packers, 49ers, Cowboys, none of them have been able to do. It would be crushing to not get it done. And if they do, it's going to be a heck of a party in Kansas City.
Well, we look forward to it. Should be a great game. Thanks for your time, Matt. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Take care, everybody.
There you go. That's Matt Derrick joining us. Chiefs and the Eagles. Cons, have you picked who you're going with?
I've been Eagles since Monday. Since we announced it. Yeah.
Now, is that more anti-Chiefs or pro-Eagles?
What does it matter?
No, it matters. Be honest.
I honestly I think that the Eagles have enough talent to get the job done. It's definitely a little anti-Chief. There's no doubt about it because, how can you go up against Patrick Mahomes and what they've done? Like they've always elevated their game when it matters, and they're a loaded team. But I just think that this Philadelphia Eagles team, you can talk about Spags has done a great job stopping running backs in playoff games, but they haven't seen a 2,000-yard rusher, have they? This guy is a different animal. He can run inside and outside. He can run over you. He can spin. He can juke. He can hurdle you backwards. I just think Saquon Barkley has that potential. If they stick with them, I think he can bust a big one because we've seen him do it all season long. The defense, Jalen Carter, hopefully he's healthy enough to play. I think there's something going around that team, which could be an impact, but you double team him, opens up Nolan Smith's at 4 sacks in 3 games this season for the playoff or for the Eagles. So I think the Eagles can get the job done, but I'd be lying to you if I said it was a little bit of a Chiefs hate when I say that.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
The last couple of years, though, I mean, I said at the start of the playoffs, I've said who can beat the Chiefs? I don't think any team can. This year, I thought, okay, I think the Eagles, with what they've done, how they played against the Commanders, confidence has to be really high. I think they can get the job done.
Well, you know what? They're definitely not they're really not even an underdog. 1 point, I guess,
exactly.
Theoretically. But let's be real here. It's 1 point. That's basically a pick 'em. And so I think it's going to be a very competitive game. The one advantage that Casey has, I don't think anybody can argue, is they've shown an ability to win consistently all the time. Now, the Eagles have had a very good season, and this season they've been just as good, right? What are they, 16-3, and the Chiefs are 17-2 overall? I think that's what it is.
They both have 17 wins now because the Chiefs
17-3, right? Yeah. So 17-3, 17-2.
Yeah.
So, they've both been good. Historically, though, and the other thing to me, I think, if I went position by position, is there a bigger advantage than the quarterback in position in this game for you? Do you both coaches have won a Super Bowl. So, you can say that Andy Reid has a bit more experience, but I don't know if it's that much more. I honestly think it's Mahomes to Hurts. If you look at how Hurts has played this year, I don't think it's close.
Well, Sirianni doesn't have a Super Bowl. That was previous regime, right?
Oh, right. You're right.
So
Super Bowl appearance.
But
right?
an appearance,
yeah,
2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, obviously a good coaching staff. And they've done it losing both their coordinators from the last appearance, who've both gone on to become head coaches. Jonathan Gannon and coach out in Indianapolis, whatever that might be. I forget his name. But and maybe even now you've got their OC, Kellen Moore, probably going to be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, I mean, he's a really good coach. I would say that's it. And I know Jalen Hurts, his best game, as Nick probably mentioned, there was the Super Bowl. He hasn't this year. I think he had one 300-yard passing game, and it wasn't even a game where he threw 3 or 4 touchdowns. It was like a 15-12 win, which is crazy. He's just trying to keep them in it. But yeah, I would say for sure when you get to the biggest stage and the biggest moment, who else would you rather have on your team is Patrick Mahomes. He's head and shoulders above everyone else, and those moments, like we've touched on it so many times, when it's a 3rd and short, whatever it might be, 4th and short, you need a big play. Doesn't matter if it's offense or defense. Kansas City seems to get the job done. So that's going to be something they're going to have to keep on going if they want to win.
Hey guys, what about the running back position? Well, Saquon has had an unreal year, right? And KC has more of they use it by committee for sure. So, but Kareem Hunt finds a way just to get you first downs, but he's not as explosive. There's no doubt. Pacheco is banged up. I could see that. That's a position though where, like, when we look at importance of the game, the running back today just doesn't impact the game as much as a quarterback can historically. Now, if Saquon goes off, then yes, but still the quarterback position, because it's more important overall. And ultimately, like, say the quarterback touches the ball in every offensive play. Even if he's handing it off, he still has to have a secure handoff, everything. To me, I just think it's a more important position.
Who's the MVP for the Eagles? Would you say it's
it's Barkley for sure.
It's Barkley, right? So I think
day.
Philly might be that weird circumstance where he might be more important than Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts has this bum knee.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But if Saquon doesn't play and he's not out there at 100%,
but their offensive line goes a big deal, right? Like when Philadelphia led the league, Saquon Barkley led the league in yards before being touched. 2.7 yards before he even got touched on average. Like, are you kidding me? That's unreal. So, their O-line is very good. And that's, to me, that's the game within the game. I think there's 2 things on each side. Can the Eagles get pressure? 100%. That's because if they can't pressure Mahomes consistently, they're not going to beat him. And then can the Chiefs stop the running attack? And not stop it, like, you're not just going to, but limit it, right? Contain it somewhat. And probably more so contain the huge plays, right? Because that's where Barkley crushes you. Yeah. He'll go 3, he'll go 4, he'll go, boom, 76. and that's obviously where he's explosive. So
crazy thing about the Eagles too, like this defense is going to be around for a while. Obviously, Jalen Carter, 2nd year, Nolan Smith, 2nd year, Cooper DeJean, rookie, Quinyon Mitchell, rookie. Like, they have a lot of really good young players. Reed Blankenship's just 25. Some bets mixed in there, but they've got a really good young core.
Yeah, no.
And maybe Mahomes takes advantage of it.
Yeah, it's good. I can't, I'm kind of disappointed in my team that, I'm coaching. So obviously it'll be super fun to watch kids play, but it's the wonders of PVR. So I'll get to watch first quarter in a bit and then record it. And I've been instructed by my son, we're not listening to any radio on the way home because he doesn't want to know. So I like it. Quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to 5 questions coming up later on. Also, Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning. We'll get the Avs recap. It's been the Mackenzie Blackwood show. He starts tonight. That'll be 22 of the last 27 games that he started since he was being acquired. Now, part of that has to do with Scott Wedgwood's hurt, and he's hurt again. Or do you think Bednar will roll the dice and give rookie Trent Miner his 2nd NHL start? I can't see him doing it, but we'll discuss the possibilities on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter travels the world.
Buongiorno, Italy. Nothing beats immersing oneself in another culture. Ooh, look at that. What an intricate design. Huh, wow. What a weird way to turn on the shower. OMG, a dedicated porcelain bidet. Do I try it? Well, when in Rome. Oh, my. This beats that robot toilet in Japan.
All plumbing roads lead to Mr. Rooter.
90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa. And you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henday.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goals. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhock beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhock beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
You know, the Ridge Social Eatery St. Albert is a great place to unwind with your friends. But when it comes to Valentine's Day, let's just say you get a little frantic with the romantic. Not to worry, the Ridge has you covered. Yeah, the Ridge is the perfect place for you two with their special Valentine's Day menu. You get your choice of a main and your choice of a shared app and dessert, plus a bottle of sparkling wine, all for just $140 per couple. Reservations are recommended, so call now or go online to theridgestantalbert.com.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
Course to this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team at Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.348. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. Oilers Avs tonight. It's a final home game for the Oilers, but don't worry, there's lots of home hockey action going on. The Oil Kings, of course, they will celebrate Louis' birthday tomorrow, and you know what? It's going to be it's a really popular game against the Moose Jaw Warriors, and then of course they've got home games next week against the Pats. Also, Lethbridge comes to town, so you'll have some opportunities there. You also got the Golden Bears, of course, Grant McEwen. You got the Saints, you got the Crusaders. So you got a lot of hockey action if you're interested to check it out. If you need something to scratch that hockey itch, there'll be lots of opportunities. Now, do you want to go to Louis' birthday? We have one final 4-pack of tickets to the game and a very special Louis the Lion bobblehead for those who love the bobblehead. So if you would like to go, text in Oil Kings right now to 833-401-1440. Very simple, 833-401-1440, and you could be going to the game on Saturday. Hey guys, Mahomes has 28 total touchdowns. Hurts is 32. Hurts is a bum. Triple C in a truck. Are you honestly, Triple C, trying to compare 1 yard rushing touchdowns to being the stat that suggests Hurts is very valuable? Seriously? You can't be doing. I don't care how diehard of Eagles fan you are. You can't rationally suggest that makes him close to Patrick Mahomes. Like, let's be real here. Come on now. I love that you don't have blinders on about your team and suggest that Jalen Hurts is close to Patrick Mahomes. He's not close. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not remotely close. So Jalen Hurts, his own receiver said we have to pass the ball better, right? 1 yard rushing touchdowns don't mean a whole lot to me. Like, great. So he can do a quarterback sneak. Awesome. Right? Was KC getting stuffed consistently on short yardage plays? No. So I don't know. That's not the stat I'd be using to say, hey, this guy's close to Patrick Mahomes. Like, come on. It's there's other stats you can look at, and it's definitely not it for Jalen Hurts. Like, it's just he's got to be better, and then you just look at his playoff numbers. So now, hey, Jalen Hurts has the better running back, no question, and it's a bigger strength of their team for sure. But when you have that good of a running attack, it should be even easier to pass the ball because the opposition has now got to respect the run game so much, and he still can't pass great. So I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. If the push is so easy, why is no one else doing it? Yeah, the push is on the offensive line, right? The O-line, we've said the O-line's the greatest. The O-line, they have the best O-line in the league. We've been saying that for a month. But it doesn't mean that, don't try to compare Hurts to Mahomes. It's not comparable. We've said they got the best running back. We've said they got the best O-line. No one debates that. But to suggest that Hurts is close to Mahomes, come on now. It's not. Right? It just isn't. So I love this. Why do you have to pass the ball when you're up every game? Don't the Chiefs have a better regular season record? So kind of debunks your myth right there. So yeah. There's lots of teams who win games who can still pass the ball in the NFL. Right? To me, Jalen Hurts, he's got to have a good game because I expect the running game to be good. It's been great all year. So to me, like, I'd be stunned if the Eagles don't have a good running attack. So it comes down, can Jalen Hurts move the ball efficiently? If he does, their odds of winning, they go up significantly. That's why I think it comes down to him, because I expect the running back and the O-line to do what they've done all year long. They've been pretty good. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, when you look at the Oilers roster, everybody keeps talking about goaltending issues. What issues do you see? Well, goaltending issue, I guess it depends on what you look at, right? And then you have to look at what's available. So, as I've said, for the last 11 weeks, Stuart Skinner is sixth in save percentage, sixth in goals against. I don't have an issue with that. So, are you going to go out and find a starter? Because guess what? Of the top five, none of them are available. Hellebuck, Kemper, Blackwood, Vasilevsky, Logan Thompson. They're not. Right? And Skinner's right there with him. He's actually got a better goals against than Vasilevsky at this point. So he's been fine. Now, Calvin Pickard is a backup. The one weakness, if it's considered a weakness, and I'm not sure it is, because, first 3 shots of the game, last 3 shots of the game, middle 3 shots of the game, right? I think people don't like an early goal because of the perception of it. And I get it, right? Your odds of a losing increase. It's been that way for years. But Pickard has allowed a goal in the first 3 shots 11 times this year, which is very high. It's 11 out of 18 starts. It's not great. But the Oilers are 9-2 in those 11 games. So it hasn't hurt the team because it doesn't give up a lot else. He has a 2.32 goals against average since October 13th. 2.32. You get 2.32 goals against, your chances of winning are massive in the NHL. They're massive. So the thing is, could you look at an upgrade on Pickard? Sure. But who? Right? I don't see any backup That's Marc-Andre Fleury's not getting traded. So let's eliminate him. Is there another backup? You're like, wow, this guy's clearly better. Well, then it would have to be from a non-playoff team. And most of the non-playoff teams don't have a backup who's clearly better. Because if he was that much better, he'd be playing way more. It's just how it works on non-playoff teams. So then you look at, okay, what about, can you get a guy who's maybe a starter somewhere else who can come here? Okay. John Gibson's name gets thrown out a lot. He's had a really solid season. His last 4, meh, but this year, pretty good. Here's the thing with Gibson. So number one, if you acquire him, there's a significant cap hit. Even if the Ducks retain 50%, which I'm not sure they'd be willing to do over the length of his contract, but let's just say for fun they would. So now you're talking over $3 million. Then you have to say, okay, we bring in John Gibson. Got a reputation of being a little bit crusty, right? Highly competitive, that's fine. But the big thing is John Gibson going to come here? And I know from the outside, people are like, oh, competition is great. To a point, competition is great. You don't want your starting goaltender feeling like if I allow a bad goal, I can't play. No one plays good that way. It's impossible. Defensemen can't play well that way. Forwards can't play well that way. You can't play scared and worried that, oh, one mistake, oh, I'm out. Can't play that way. Doesn't work. And really, no other position has it. You don't have your top defenseman. Oh, he has a tough game. Well, now he's on the second pair. Right now, he's out of the lineup. It doesn't work that way. So you need to have a goalie who comes in and who's going to be prepared to handle the backup role. And it's not easy. It's not easy if in the playoffs you're there and you're just literally a cheerleader. Right? And I think sometimes people overlook that factor. The continuity of your goaltending pair really matters. It's part of the discussion we had with Steve Hauschka, talking about, a team culture, and you have the soil as the garden, and then you have all the different plants, right? And you have to nurture them differently. And that's what comes with the personality of your players. So, and the thing is, the goaltending position, if anybody could master it. 2 years ago, Sergei Bobrovsky, worst contract in the NHL. He's terrible. Then they went to back-to-back cups. Now it's like, hey, Sergei Bobrovsky, guaranteed Hall of Famer. Right? Connor Hellebuyck. Look at his last few regular seasons. Out of this world good. Then look at his last 3 playoff years. He hasn't won a round. In 11 of the 14 games, he's allowed 4 or more goals. In 11 of 14. Now, does that mean Hellebuyck is bad? I wouldn't think so. Just straight up, no. But your environment, even with an elite goaltender, the environment in front of him does clearly matter. Unless you believe that Hellebuyck just stinks in the playoffs. So are you willing to give up whatever the cost is to get that goaltender at such a volatile and unpredictable position? And one where the Oilers right now, because people can talk to me about saves above expected and all those sorts of things, right? Do saves above expected win you games? Connor Halley, do saves above expected? Do expected goals against win you games?
Nope.
No. You know what wins you games? Goals for and goals against. So do you know where the Oilers rank in goals against? 6th in the NHL. So are they really that bad? Right? They're 6th in goals against, and they're 4th in goals for. That's on the season, right? So now, if you want, because how a team plays in October really to me doesn't matter, right? So then we go to November. And if you look in offense since November 1st, the Oilers are 1st in offense, and they are 5th in goals against. Right? And we can go by month, even if we want to get closer, and look and say, okay, well, where do the Oilers rank? Right? In goals against. They're 7th since December. Right? The Oilers, I don't know if it's that and they're 6th since January 1st. They're 6th on the season. Right? I don't think it's as major of they're not giving up that many goals. Now, funny enough, we do know the one weakness of Stuart Skinner, and every goalie has a weakness. Kevin Woodley said this. Connor Hellebuyck has a weakness. Every goalie has a weakness. Stuart Skinner's weakness is goals off the rush. At times he was taking too much ice, and he's altered it a little bit. If you've noticed, he doesn't come out as much because when you go out and attack more and you're aggressive on the rush, what happens is you then have more space to cover on the cross pass, and it's harder. So they're getting him to go a little bit deeper, so then there's less ice he has to take to go across. It's been a subtle change. But the Edmonton Oilers, well, they don't give up a lot of chances off the rush. They're actually, I think it's 9th or 10th in chances off the rush, but high danger chances, which are obviously better chance of scoring, they're 24th in the NHL. Last year under Knobloch, they were 3rd. So that's an element that regardless of who your goalie is, if you're continually giving up that many high danger chances off the rush, which is where most goals are scored, guess what? You're going to give up goals. Even if you don't give up a high abundance of shots, you're going to give up goals if you continually give up high danger chances off the rush. So now that you have to fix that. Can a goalie fix that? Now I'd have to look at John Gibson and we'll ask Woodley, is John Gibson great off the rush? Okay, maybe. Then maybe there's a fit. But wouldn't you want to say, hey, let's get back to limiting the high danger chances off the rush, which we did last year. So what are we doing differently? Let's figure it out and solve that problem. Does having another extra forward with speed help? Maybe, right? On back pressure and such, it's a possibility. So you can get an upgrade on goal, but I think upgrading your goaltending is very risky because of, to fit in. Like when they upgraded and got Dwayne Rolson, he was a starter. But you're not going to upgrade your starter. There's not many guys that are better than Skinner's numbers. I just outlined him over the last, 11, 12 weeks. They've been very good. So you're looking to upgrade your backup, but then now you're influencing your goaltender relationship, the partnership. There's lots of things that don't show up even in goals against or expected goals against or goals for, blah, blah, right? So you have to keep that in mind. And that's why I think the goaltending one is I'd be cautious to go there. If you can find one, great. I'm not sure I see one. If you see anybody other than John Gibson that you think's an obvious go-to, let me know at 833-401-1440. Because I'm not sure I see one other than him. And don't mention Lucas Dostal because I don't think there's any chance the Ducks are trading him. He's kind of their young goalie of the future. You'd love to get him, but I don't see that happening. Let's get to the Con Man and Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Get where you need to go this winter with the mid-winter tire clearance. 20% off all in-stock tires right now. Premium brands, unbeatable safety, and great savings. Details at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Oilers hosting the Colorado Avalanche down at Rogers Place. Puck drop just after 7 o'clock. We've got pregame coverage for you. Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson right here on Sports 1440. Getting going at 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, the Penguins take on the Rangers. Sidney Crosby will not play in that one. Islanders in Winnipeg. Hawks hosting the Preds, and the Stars taking on the Kings in the association. The Toronto Raptors in OKC taking on SGA. Tip-off 6 o'clock in that one. You've also got the Hawks hosting the Bucks. Cavs take on the Wizards. Spurs, Hornets, the Heat battle the Nets. Suns hosting the Jazz, and the Pistons hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. In the WHL, the Oil Kings in Calgary tonight, taking on the Hitmen at 7 tomorrow night. It's Louis' birthday as the Oil Kings host the Warriors. That one presented by Sports 1440. Also a 7 o'clock start in the BCHL. Spruce Grove hosting the Brooks Bandits. That'll get going at 7 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, Trail Smoke Eaters taking on the Sherwood Park Crusaders in the AJ Canmore's interim Heller. Drayton Valley hosting Whitecourt. Bonneville meets Camrose and GPs in Devon. All those games will start at 7 o'clock. The Golden Bears hockey team in action, taking on the Bisons out in Winnipeg tonight at 6, tomorrow at 1. The Pandas will host Manitoba down at the Drake tonight at 7, tomorrow at 2. At the Saville Center, we've got volleyball. Bears Pandas both taking on UBC tonight. The action gets going at 6 o'clock. For the McEwen men's hockey team, home and home with the Calgary Dinos tonight in Calgary, tomorrow here in town. McEwen women's team hosting Calgary tonight, then tomorrow down in Calgary. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Evan Rawal of Colorado Hockey Now to discuss the Avalanche, also Craig Button from the NHL on TSN, and another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top-shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big McDavid, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
It may sound cliche, but it's true. Building something new starts with a solid foundation. At GS Construction, we're growing Edmonton subdivisions with deep utility services and infrastructure that lasts. Every new project begins with skilled people like you, building communities from the ground up. GS Construction is hiring. So if you're a foreman or a pipe layer that's looking to put your skills to work for Edmonton and area in 2025, we'd love to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join a team that digs deep and builds stronger.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Create a mouth-watering pizza lineup with buffalo chicken, all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, or create your own pizza possibilities. Now through Sunday, February 9th, get 25% off pizzas at regular menu price with promo code GAME25. Order at papajohns.ca or through the Papa John's app using promo code GAME25. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Papa John's.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Take 25% off any regular pizza at regular menu price. Use GAME25 at papajohns.ca or use the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
How do you say his name again? Welcome back. Positive Friday. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Oilers hosting the Colorado Avalanche. Tonight, the Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. You get 15 mil tonight for Lotto Max. Also, the Oilers favored at home tonight against the Avs. But, man, the Avs are pretty good underdog price if you're a believer in the underdog. So check it out at playalberta.ca. No lineup changes for the Oilers skaters, but they will have a change in goal. Stuart Skinner back in between the pipes. He's 2-0 against the Avs. The Oilers looking to sweep the Avs for the first time since 2017. So we'll see. They won both games in Colorado. Both times the Oilers are playing on the back end of back-to-back. But tonight it's the Avs who are playing on the back end of the back-to-back. And they will try to keep the trend going of the team on the second half of the back-to-back, getting the win as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can always take action on your savings. You've been thinking about it. Well, get off the fence. You don't want the splinters anymore. And you can get solar on your home or your commercial building. ActionElectrical.net. To discuss the Avs, how they look since the trade. Mackenzie Blackwood starting all the games almost. Evan Rayl joins us from Colorado Hockey. Evan, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good. I was looking at Mackenzie Blackwood's numbers, and he started 21 of 26 games since they acquired him. And Wedgwood's had some injuries, so that probably plays a factor in it. He's out. And Trent Miner is their backup. He's made one NHL start. It was against Chicago just a month ago. I got to think they're going to run Mackenzie Blackwood again tonight with 2 weeks coming up off, correct?
Yeah, I would think so too, because Jared Bednar has been talking about how they're trying to treat all these games before the break as a playoff game. And, you know, there's 2 weeks off. He can take a rest there. And I can't imagine they're going to play Trent Miner against Connor McDavid and company.
Yeah, it would seem odd. Tell me, how did the Rantanen trade? How was that received in Colorado?
Shock. I think just like the rest of the world, everyone was shocked. Everyone's coming around to it because Marty Net just looks like a perfect fit here, but it's a lot of shock. Like, I mean, the guy's been here a decade. He's the longest tenured guy on the team other than Nathan MacKinnon, and just out of the blue, he's gone. And I think the surprise is that it happened so well before the deadline, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. And it is a lot of shock, but you know, the guys they've gotten have played really well, and they fit in perfectly. So it's people are coming around to the idea that, oh, you know, maybe Nathan MacKinnon is the guy that can kind of lift everyone up on his line.
You know, Rantanen afterwards said, hey, I would have taken less to re-sign there. You know, that kind of surprised me a little bit. You know, he said he was shocked by it, and I'm like, well, everybody knew him and his agent. You know, they're trying to, or his agent was negotiating, and supposedly it wasn't going very well. Like, did you ever hear any concrete numbers? Like the 14 million one didn't make sense to me because Leon Draisaitl's getting 14 million. He's a center and he's a Hart Trophy winner, etc. And like, I like Rantanen, but he's not Leon Draisaitl in my books.
Yeah, my understanding is that over the summer it got pretty close, that everyone thought they had an agreement, and then Draisaitl signed his deal, and I think Rantanen's camp, who had the same agent as Leon Draisaitl, just said, okay, we'll hold off, you know. And then they got the salary cap rising here, so a lot of rumors that the Avs wouldn't go above, 11.75, I think was the number. I think they would have. I don't think they would have gone over Nathan MacKinnon's number, which, you know, makes sense. But, I mean, I did hear his comments about how he would have taken below market value, but, you know, I think both parties might have a different opinion on what market value is and what a discount would have been. So that's kind of where I think the issue came up in the first place.
Okay. So you get into Marty Necas, and it's been short time here, and obviously he's different than Rantanen. He just doesn't have he's not the same size as Rantanen. But in the brief time that you watched him, what do you think that he does that's going to complement MacKinnon?
Well, yeah, he's a very different player than Mikko Rantanen, and I think that was kind of the shock of it all, is that, you know, Nate's used to being the guy burning up the ice, and now he's got someone who's right there with him, maybe one of the few guys in the league who can actually keep up with him. So the adjustment, I think, has been that, you know, Necas is a right shot, whereas Mikko's been a left shot, playing that right wing the whole time. The one-timer's not there anymore. But I think for MacKinnon, it's a good thing because he leads the NHL in time on ice for forwards, and it's a hard 23 minutes a night he's playing every night because he's skating so much. And now he's got somebody that can kind of carry the puck for him. He doesn't have to do all the work. So it might be a little bit easier for him now, but they've worked really well together. Someone's finally starting to shoot the puck when it's Necas, but they've been dynamite together. And then now they put Lehkonen on that other wing, and it's just kind of a perfect pair because you got somebody who's going to go to the net with those two.
Yeah. And on the back end, how serious is the Manson injury?
We don't know. He's been dealing with a wrist injury pretty much most of the year anyway. So now he's got a lower body issue where he just kind of disappeared from the game the other night in Vancouver. So they did say they're hopeful that he's going to be back after the break. However, the Avs have been hopeful for a lot of injuries this year to come back early, and it just hasn't happened. So I think they need a defenseman even if Manson's back. But if he's hurt for any long period of time, they're in real trouble and need to go out and find another defenseman.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that that's an element they're going to be looking at. Any other positions you see them trying to upgrade before the deadline?
Yeah, definitely defensemen. Even with Manson in there, he's just been erratic. And all their bottom pairing defensemen, they've kind of rotated them all in and out, and they're not super happy with any of them. So I think they want somebody they can truly trust. Because, I mean, you look at that Vancouver game, I think Taves played 33 minutes and McCarr played 30, and that was a regulation game. So they're kind of riding those top two guys and then Sam Girard really hard. So they want another defenseman. And then, I mean, there are rumblings. You can tell that Jared is not super happy with Case of Middlestad at that second center position. He hasn't quite found that level that he had in the playoffs last year, where he looked like the guy that was going to be the guy behind Nate McKinnon for a long time to come. So if they could find another guy, I've heard Brock Nelson's name out there a lot, but that's a hard position to find an upgrade on at this point of the year.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. The Avs overall, I look at their roster now and I see their lineup, and with their guys being healthy, because they've been battling quite a bit of injuries. Ross Colton was playing great and then he got hurt, and you go down. They really haven't had like a healthy lineup for a lot of this season. Now Lekkonen's back, Duran's back. The second line center spot though, Casey Middlestad, I see his name is on Frank Saravalli's trade target board. How's his season gone? Are they that disappointed with him? Do you think they need to upgrade their 2C spot?
I think they would like to, because I think the trouble is they're finding Casey might not be a perfect fit for how the Avs want to play. He's just not a great skater. And, Jared has made mention multiple times, Jared Bednar, about how, when he was struggling, even a month and a half into this, he was saying, well, he's got to figure it out. Like we've talked, we've done all this stuff. He's got to figure it out. And he's gotten a little bit better, but if you watch the games, like they're not using that line as like a second line. So I don't think he's super happy there. So he had a great first month of the year, but the 3 months since then, it's just been a struggle for him. And everyone assumed when, Nichushkin and Drouin and Lekkonen got back that, he'd finally have wingers and he'd be great. And it's actually kind of gone the opposite way. So it's been a little bizarre, but yeah, if they could find an upgrade there, that'd be great. They don't exactly have a ton of assets to go out and do that. So it's just a difficult trade to make at this point in the year.
Well, I guess that's the question as Evan Raywall joins us from Denver, talking about the Avalanche, of course, final game for them and the Oilers tonight before the break. The Avs got their top D pair, and then they've also got McKinnon going to the tournament. How's the Four Nations? Is there any hype in Colorado? How's people looking at that, or is it kind of like it is here? I find it's kind of muted until once all the NHL games are over. Then I think it'll get amped up a bit. How's it in Colorado?
Yeah, I don't know if there's all that much hype around it. To be honest, I think people got to see the games to really know, because just we haven't had a best on best tournament in so long. But also, this kind of feels artificial. It's not like the Olympics. It's just kind of four nations come together here. So not a ton of hype. I think most as fans, just how the year has gone with all these injuries, they're kind of holding their breath that nobody comes back hurt from this tournament. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch it, but it's not like the Olympics to me. I know that personally.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. I look at the, I would say this about, I hope if they do this again, and I think it's an NHL one, like the Canada Cup that they had in the past in the World Cup. I hope they don't do it mid-season. This is a one-off for mid-season. It's like they wanted to get it in. I just hope it happens in August, September. I find it's a much better time of the year to do it than it is mid-season. That's just my view on it. I get why they'd want more teams, but I think once it starts, people are going to enjoy it, because I think the competitiveness of the games are going to be great.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think stopping the season, it's going to be cool this year just because we haven't had it in so long, but I do agree that kind of stopping the season for this tournament where, only so many great players are going to be there. Like, you're going to be missing the Draisaitl's, the Kucherovs. Those guys aren't going to be there. So it doesn't have quite the excitement or as some of these other tournaments might.
Yeah, and that's fair. And Kucherov's not going to be there at the Olympics either, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they already announced that that's not happening for Russia. One last one for you, Evan. When I look at this Avalanche team and their defense court, you mentioned that they want to upgrade there. Calvin DeHaan, Oliver Shillington, how have they fit in?
That's a tough one to answer. I think it's been a struggle for both of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
DeHaan started the year essentially as the de facto 6, and he's lost his job essentially over the last month and a half or so to Keaton Middleton, who's been a career AHL guy. So I think he can't keep up in this system. He doesn't quite have the puck skills to kind of keep up. So at his age, it's been tough for him, and I think they'd love to find a guy that can kind of push him down the depth chart even further. And then with Shillington, it's been just a struggle all year. He had a terrible training camp. He came in, he played a couple games, and he wasn't very good. And then it looked like he was finding his legs, and then he got hurt, and he's missed 2 months. So last night was his first game, I think, since November 27th. So it's just been a struggle. And then even the first period, he looked really rough. So you just don't know what you're getting with those guys on a nightly basis, and that's part of the reason why the Avs need to go out and find another defenseman.
What about goaltender? Are they concerned about Wedgwood? And they can't run Blackwood 22 out of 27 starts the whole way down the stretch. So any update on what Wedgwood's injury is? And I might sound crazy, but are they going to trade for a third goalie this year?
It wouldn't surprise me. They've just been making trades left and right. So I don't think it's that serious. He's on the trip.
Okay.
So I think it's fine. I think it's just a matter of the breaks here. We'll let Blackwood start these 2 games, and then Wedgwood will get fine over the break. So I think it's an upper body injury. It's not the same thing he was dealing with lower body a couple weeks back. So it sounds like he's going to be fine once the break's over.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Evan, really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
There you go. There's Evan Rayl from the Denver Gazette covering the Avalanche. They play their final game before the break, same as the Oilers tonight. There's 14 games on Saturday. So these two teams are just getting the break a little bit earlier. Oiler players will be jetting off, some going to places. We will hear from John Klingberg coming up, because I had a conversation with John just about where he's at now. He's had a few games to kind of evaluate himself. I will say this, in my brief time in talking to John, man, the guy is very open about kind of where he's at and everything with his injury and his game and, the challenges and the things that excite him about it. So, it was brief, but we had a good chat afterwards, just talking about, what he's going to do. He's not going anywhere during the break. He's going to stay here, him and his family. They got to get a place to live. So his family's with him, which is great, but you don't want to live in a hotel. And he'll skate with the order staff, not the head coach, but, training staff and such. And then he's also planning on having a few practices with the Oil Kings. There was some talk between him and the organization about going down to Bakersfield. Theoretically, they could have put him on a conditioning stint because he would have agreed to it. But they weighed all the options, and from family and needing to get a place and then being able to skate with the order trainers and then practice with the Oil Kings, they felt it was better for him just to stay here. So that's what he'll be doing. But he'll be here where lots of guys will be gone. But, he hasn't played. He's only played 4 games, so he wants to get in. We'll come back. Craig Button will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice. EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365. UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking. Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service. Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project. Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest. You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Saturdays were made for a great party and family fun that's second to none. And this Saturday at Rogers Place, it's the Oil Kings mascot, Louie's Birthday Bash, presented by Bloom Benefits. Edmonton faces the Moose Jaw Warriors, and every fan in attendance gets a scratch card for their chance to win one of 1,000 Louie the Lion bobbleheads to celebrate. And at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is lion-sized. Oil Kings, Warriors, Louie's Birthday Bash, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously. The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
A Tim's Donut and Coffee is the original collab. And now, any classic donut is $1 when you buy any size original or dark roast coffee. Get a deal on the iconic duo with a Tim's dollar donut, plus tax at participating restaurants for limited time. Terms apply. See app for details.
Time for Tim's.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4:27. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Gregor Show, as always, is presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. Now, we have going to talk lots of hockey, even a little draft. We'll see as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. And they're in action tonight as they host the Brooks Bandits. You can get your tickets online, sgsaints.ca. And if you can't go to the game, but you want to support them, you can go to saints5050.com and get tickets for their 50-50 to help them out as they take on Brooks tonight. Then they'll be on the road in Okotoks tomorrow, as we welcome in Craig Button from TSN, former NHL general manager, Stanley Cup winner, a scout, now ace analyst and scout with TSN. Butts, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. You know what? You're so kind with your introduction to me. I really appreciate that. You know, I have missed you. I told Connor and Wanye they did a good job, but you know what? We missed you. I hope you enjoyed your time off and got rejuvenated.
Oh, I did, buddy. Have you ever been to the Big Island in Hawaii?
I have. We've gone to Maui all the time. So, and so many people tell us you got to go to the Big Island. So, You know what? Tell me what I need to know.
Dude, I'll tell you. Hey, we'll go for beers, but I'm telling you, Craig, like I was blown away by just how much there is to offer there. If you like to tour around, there's 11 different climate zones on one island. So you want to get snow here, you want to get some desert over here. Then there's a tropical forest. The next place, there's waterfalls. It's unbelievable. You land like you're on the moon because you got all this, black lava rock all over the place. So it is, it's quite the experience. And the weather's great. So I highly recommend it. Lots of tours we did, and snorkeling, zip lining, you name it. You just want to relax on the pool. There's tons of that. So we'll go for beers, and I can give you a long list of places to go. And there was some unbelievable, probably, no joke, we're this small, we went to this town called Havi, and we went to the zip line in there, and then the guy zip lining, he's a local guy, he said, hey, where's a good place to go eat? He's like, you got to go to Gills. And I'm like, all right. So we go to Gills. It's this small, might have had 20 seats, maybe. And it has where the chef was, their kitchen might have been 10 by 12. It wasn't very big, but they had a venison burger. This is maybe the best burger I've ever had. And their fries are old school fries where they have the beef tallow that they make it in, so they're better for you. It was unbelievable. It was so good that we actually drove back because on the other side of the island 5 days later to go again.
That's good. Yeah. When you have a good product, right? And people will drive and make sure they make the effort to come back. That's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Now let's get to the NHL, and there's lots happening right now, Craig. I guess the first one I will have for you is who would you play with Connor McDavid for Team Canada at the upcoming Four Nations?
Zach Hyman. Oh, wait a sec. He's not on the team.
Touche.
I said it. Well, I've said it a bunch of times. I think it's an egregious omission.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on from there. One of the things that Connor McDavid, let me just quickly go through Connor McDavid here. Connor McDavid is brilliant at being able to open up space, not just for himself, but for others. So I think you need a really smart player, and Zach Hyman is that player, somebody that's really smart that knows how to get open. So I think that's, for me, it's Braden Point or Sam Reinhart, because you also need somebody that can finish. I don't have Mitch Marner with him. I think Mitch Marner is a really good distributor. I don't think Mitch Marner is a really good finisher. And so I want a finisher with McDavid, because if you're smart, you know how you're going to get the puck. So I need somebody that's going to finish, and that's Reinhart or Point for me. That's where I'm at in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Braden Point, that's a great answer. I think a very smart player, very competitive player. Obviously can be a finisher if you like, doesn't have to be the puck transporter all the time. So,
right.
I will say there's a part of me though. I hope at some point we see McDavid and McKinnon on the ice together.
Oh yeah.
I just want to see
what
it.
I hope for? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, and I'm with you. Okay. So I'm full on, sign me up. Okay. Sign me up. And I also want to see a stretch with Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon. I want just put them out there. John Cooper, just give us a little bit of joy and fun.
Yeah, I like Gretzky and Lemieux. That's when I think McKinnon and because Crosby's still really good, but he's not in McKinnon and McDavid are still in their prime years, and so I remember Lemieux and Gretzky in '87, and it was just amazing to watch. And plus McKinnon and McDavid are just so fast, and they're fast differently, and it's weird to say they're both so fast, but it's very different. You got this power, diesel engine in McKinnon, and then a speed sports car in McDavid. And they both go the same speed. It's nuts.
It really is. And I want to add, and the left winger with Gretzky and Lemieux was Hawerchuk. We forget what a great player Hawerchuk was, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. You're there's a Hall of Fame player, dynamic player, and he was called the third guy in the line. It's nuts. So.
Yeah, and Hawerchuk and Eisenman, who were putting up all kinds of points in the 80s, they never had a sniff at a first or second team All-Star because Gretzky and Lemieux owned it.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to see. I'm excited for it, right? I don't care who's not in it. I'm only focused on who's in it for the countries. I agree with you on the Zach Hyman thing. I said it from day one. I thought it made no sense to me how he's not there. It still makes no sense to me how he's not there. But on the U.S. side, because I think Canada and the U.S. are the two best teams, but I can never count out Finland in these tournaments. They always punch above their weight class, but it just seems like it's a Canada-U.S. and selfishly, that's what I want because I think it's the best rivalry for Canada in that tournament. But if you look at Team USA, who would you play with Matthews with?
Well, Matthews is a shooter, right?
Yeah.
So, the ability to get open, and he's more of a shooter than a playmaker. And him and Marner, I just talked about Marner, right? And the chemistry they have. So now you start to think about who would be good with him. Like Kyle Connor might not because he's a shooter too, but Kyle Connor's an underrated playmaker. And so I think by putting Kyle Connor with Austin Matthews, you now have the ability, like, okay, who are you going to play here? Like if Kyle Connor has the puck and you're trying to take it away from Matthews, Connor will beat you with a shot. But Connor's got silky smooth playmaking skills. And I think that now you can't just play one guy to pass the puck. That guy can shoot, not as well as Matthews because nobody can. But now you have a different dynamic to throw. And let's face it here. Not face it. I mean, that's obvious. You're playing against the other teams like really good defenders. So you got to find a way to try to get an edge whatever way you can.
Yeah. Let's turn to the NHL. And we got Marty Necas now in Colorado. He's got more speed than Rantanen, right? He's a different player. Hasn't had the same finishing ability as Rantanen so far in his career. What do you make of this deal from a Colorado perspective?
Well, it's interesting because Chris McFarland talked about, and this is before we got the whole payroll range for the next 3 seasons after this year.
Yeah.
He talked about trying to fit players in. And the owners knew and managers would have known, had a pretty good idea, where it was headed. But he made a decision, and I think he made 2 decisions. He made a decision, well, maybe 3. Number 1 was, we're not going to pay anybody at this point in time more than McKinnon. Okay, that's fine. You're going to have to pay McCarron a couple of years anyway, a lot more than McKinnon. Then number 2, they were looking at it and saying, we can't tie up all our money in 3 guys. And then number 3, I think they wanted more speed in their lineup. I think they wanted more of a speed lineup. So, you start to look at all those factors together and you start to go, okay, how can we accomplish that? Marty Necas is a really good player and he's a big time competitor. I think his best position is center. I think much like Edmonton with Draisaitl and McDavid, you can load them up there. I think Casey Middlestad's going to move. I think that, like having that 1-2 punch, McKinnon and Necas, and then you can load them up. I think that's a real option for him. But I think you're going to move Middlestad. I don't think Middlestad's a great fit there.
Yeah. It is interesting to see what they do there about the center ice position, because right now they don't like the way they want to play. Middlestad doesn't seem to fit with how they want to play for their center iceman, right?
I totally agree, Jason. Yeah. I have nothing to add to that. It's not that Casey isn't a good player or solid player, but you nailed it, the way they want to play.
The Ottawa Senators, Craig, Allmark gets out for a long, they find a way to stay in the hunt, and, they've had some other injuries. The break probably comes at a good time with Norris and Pinto out. Where are you on the Senators and their chances? Like, you look at this playoff race when they come out of the break between the Senators and the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets and the Bruins and the Islanders and the Rangers. Sorry, Habs fans. I think their run was there, but I don't think they're kind of showing me who they were. Who do you like out of there? And do you think Ottawa can get back in?
Real quick, I just did Montreal's 3 games in California. As Dandy Don Meredith used to say, turn out the lights, the party's over. And it was a good little run there for the Canadians, but they have too many gaps in their lineup. And I think it's great. It's exciting. They know they have some good young players coming, but you want to be clear on where you're at. Ottawa had a real opportunity here in the last 2 games down in Tampa Bay. They go into Florida. They could be on a 3-game skid here going into the break. And you start to look, I like the way Ottawa plays. I think that they were struggling putting the puck in the net. They were getting some chances. You lose Norris, you lose Pinto. Those are real holes in their lineup. And when you start to look at who you're in with, I think I like, out of all those teams you just named, I like Ottawa the best. I do like Ottawa the best. I like them better than Boston. I like them better than the Rangers. I like them better than Columbus. I like them better than Detroit because I think they have a lot of their game in order. So, but do I think that they're a team that's automatic? No, they're going to have to play like to their strengths. And when you're short two centers, Norris and Vinto, that can make a real difference, it becomes really harder to do that. So health is going to be like, I think, other teams, like look at Winnipeg. They lose Lowry, they've won 7 in a row. They have so much depth and they have so much strength there. I don't think Ottawa has the same depth and the same strength throughout their lineup. So I like Ottawa the best there. I'll share this with you. The other day we were doing something on TSN and they wanted to ask me, what are they a Stanley Cup contender and what do they need to give them a better chance at contending for the playoffs? And I said, not doing that. First of all, I'm not going to rain on their parade by going, they're not a Stanley Cup contender because they're not. But I don't know where this whole idea came that they're a Stanley Cup contender because they won 5 games in a row. And, you start to, and now they're going to lose 2 to Tampa. And, they're a team that has moved in the right direction. And like I just said, I like their chances the best out of that group of teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you surprised at how the Detroit Red Wings, they had an early surge, but now it's continued? Like this seems more like than just a little bit of a bump here. They look like a completely different team.
Back in 2002, I thought we had a pretty good team here in Calgary. And, we were examining it, watching it. We made a coaching change. And Daryl Sutter came in because I really felt that it was time that our younger players, and we'd signed Jelena, we had traded for Drury and Yell, and we had some older players. Bobby Bugner was with us. And I thought the time had come for our team that needed a more experienced voice, somebody that could really push them. And I'll tell you, from day one, Daryl coming in, right away, you could see it right away. And he pushed our team really far that year, and it was really good, missing the playoffs. But he took that and built it into the next year. Now, Detroit may fall short in the playoffs this year, but I think Todd McLellan has put this team, and specifically their young players, into positions now where they now understand a little bit better what success is all about. And I think Derek Luhan's a good coach, but you come to a point in time where you need something different, and experience really matters. And I think Todd McLellan coming into Detroit has been something that has done exactly that for the Red Wings, and most importantly, their younger players.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's true. They're younger players. It's like the coaches somehow managed to inject confidence across the group of that team. And I think that's a great sign of a coach, right? Comes in and just, hey, guys, that's how I want you to play. And if you play well, you're going to play. Kind of makes it that simple. And it's definitely worked out for them. I think Detroit has, now we'll see if they continue it, right? Because remember last year, like the Detroit Red Wings, they won 6 in a row. They put themselves in a great spot, and then they gassed it in the last week and a half of the season. And they're going to have to try to avoid that this year.
Yeah, and you're right. And let me add one more thing too. And it was the same thing here. I mean, Robin Regier was here, Jerome McGinley was here. They were old, and Dylan Larkin is there, right? Dylan Larkin, who's their captain, and Drysdale. You also have to give those players hope too, and that's another part of the thinking when you bring in an experienced coach. Todd's been there, done that. He's worked with top players. So he can come in and say, hey, listen, it's not just the young players and giving them confidence. It's also Dylan Larkin and those players looking and going, Alex DeBrincat, and going, okay, this guy's got it. Like, let's go. That becomes really important too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very true. Craig Button joins us from TSN. Craig, if I had to say today, give me your 3 Hart Trophy leaders, who would it be?
Well, I mean, it's the 2 guys playing tonight, 29s, one for the Oilers and one for the Colorado Avalanche. I have 3 in my next group. I think they're clear cut too. 1, 2, 1, 2, whatever. Call them wherever they're at right now. It's fun. After that, I have Connor Hellebuyck, but I have Werenski Hughes. I mean, we know how important Hughes has been to the Vancouver Canucks. Zach Werenski has been just as important to the Columbus Blue Jackets and the success they've had this year. So those are my 5. So, we get to make 5 votes for the Hart Trophy right today. Those would be the 5 players on my ballot.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know who would be 1 or 2. I'll give it away. It'll be somebody that wears 29.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Werenski has had an unreal year. Right now, he's my leading candidate for the Norris Trophy.
Me too.
Right.
And Hughes has had a great season.
Yes. He has had a great season, but Werenski's been unbelievable for me. Like and he kills penalties. If you want to look at overall defensive game, right? So that matters for sure for me. I want to get your thoughts on Vancouver.
And Jason, just so you know, I'm in your corner here, just so you know. And I love Quinn Hughes, but Werenski, I'm right with you, man.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on Vancouver, Craig. So Brad Richards, I don't know if you saw his recent comments on.
I saw it.
And you talk about, hey, when I left, I told those guys, you got to have some veterans around. Because JT Miller, right, he's a very emotional guy. And if you don't have veterans to kind of rein him in, there's going to be problems. And so you as a manager, you were a manager, like sometimes I feel they're like, oh, yeah, we know better, right? And see, this JT Miller's a great player. I don't think anyone discounts he's a great player, but you got to have the right environment sometimes. And then he gets dealt finally. It's being talked about for months. And then literally, Craig, not even 3 days later, now Carson Soucy's on the trade block and they got to get rid of him. And you're like, I thought you wanted to improve your defense. Carson Soucy hasn't been a problem for your team. Like, it just seems like they don't know how to get out of their own way on creating drama. And it starts from within. And the great part is they like to blame everybody else. Oh, it's the media. It's someone. No, it's the organization. They can't help themselves. It's become a soap opera constantly in Vancouver.
It is, and days of the Canucks, right? Every day it's something different. And it's interesting. I was talking to some New York Rangers personnel, and they're over the moon to have JT Miller. They're over the moon. They're like they can't believe that they got JT Miller. I'll go back and I'll be really quick with this. In 1998, we signed Brett Hull. Now, anybody that knows Brett Hull knows that Brett Hull is a strong personality, really strong personality. Yep. And you love that about him. Like, you know what? You don't want Brett Hull to be anything but that strong personality. But we knew also that when we were talking to Brett and we pursued him, that we had a group of people in our room, whether their names were Mike Keane or Brian Scudlin or Guy Carbonneau or Darian Hatcher or Craig Ludwig, it didn't matter. We had a group of players that could deal with Howie. And he wasn't a problem, but there was times when Brett's personality and he could be bombastic. And I don't say that in a negative way because Brett was a competitor. Brett wanted to win. And, Brett, if he didn't get the pass in the right way, he could be a little bit edgy. But, we had players that could deal with it and deal. And it wasn't so much about dealing with Brett. It was about making sure that nobody else got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But the Vancouver Canucks didn't get, and I'll say this publicly, I've said it publicly, they didn't put people in, all the players that they want to believe in were overwhelmed by JT Miller. That's a problem. Yeah. JT Miller is not a problem. You want JT Miller on your team.
I watched their game last night against the Sharks, and a few things came to my mind. I'm trying to think of another team in the league, and you're playing the Sharks. So this is not like, oh, it's overtime. We got to kind of maybe put a more defensive guy out because it's McDavid. It's the Sharks and Elias Pettersson, who you want to be your top player, isn't starting in overtime. If you want your 100-point guys to be 100-point guys, Craig, and we know that offensive guys can be a little, sensitive to things. I think the part of your responsibility as a coach, you got to play him in certain situations. And to not start him 3-on-3 for me, that's a head scratcher.
It is a head scratcher. Well, I was watching parts of that game as well, too. And you know what I noticed? Elias Pettersson, to me, didn't have a bite of the game. Didn't look like, okay, well, I'm in a game. It's a Thursday night in San Jose. I'll just go about my business. Really? I mean, watch McKinnon, watch McDavid, watch Draisaitl, watch JT Miller. I'm watching Max and Celebrini the other night. We're doing the game, and I mean, he wants to be a difference maker. Elias Pettersson right now doesn't look like he wants any part of being a difference maker. It's like, if you give me an opening, I'll take it. If you don't, well, that's okay. I got next shift. Next shift turns into next game turns into next week, which turns into I got problems. Listen, I know players struggle with confidence and everything, but right now, Elias Pettersson, and you can look at a guy that's making $11.6 million. Whoa, it does not look good right now.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's very true. It doesn't look good. And so I think you got to find a way to work with him for sure. So.
Yeah, you do. I mean, they've made that, or they're going to have to trade him before his no move kicks in and with the cap going up, I think there's opportunity there. They're going to have to make a real assessment here down the stretch. Is this a guy that we want to lean into?
Yeah.
Because you're pot committed once you get past July 1st.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. Craig, great stuff, my man. Very much appreciate it. We will chat with you next Friday. Have a great day.
Yeah, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game today. It'll be a fun one. I can't wait to watch
good.
it.
I'm looking forward to it being live. It's always good. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, take care.
You bet. That's Craig Button from TSN. We'll come back with 5 questions and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Got a lot of texts flying in. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs. And up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick. Saving you more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Come on in. Nissan is proudly celebrating 60 years in Canada. The rugged Pathfinder is a powerhouse of towing capability and was awarded a 2022 and 2023 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. Lease the 2024 Pathfinder SL Premium for 0.99% for up to 36 months. Plus, get $500 loyalty bonus for qualifying Nissan customers. Conditions apply. See nissan.ca for details.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Snow removal contractors and community leagues. The tools you need are available at the prices you want. Now at the Lawnmower Hospital. Save up to $1,300 and get a free Echo backpack blower. All of BCS's industry-leading belt-free snow sweepers are on sale. And you'll get the powerful Echo PB 9010 backpack blower free with select models. Find out more at thelawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends. Swing by in February as the 2024 model clearout continues. Cash in on rebates of up to $9,000 or access finance rates as low as 0%. The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4.50. The Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. How you doing? Gregor, Connor Halley, Oilers Avalanche tonight. Stuart Skinner and most likely Mackenzie Blackwood, which would be his 7th consecutive start, 22nd start in 27 games since being acquired by the Avs. They got their backup. Wedgwood is banged up, and I don't think they want to go with the youngster Trent Miner, who has only made 1 NHL start. You put him in at home, and by the way, the Oilers against rookie goalies the last 6 seasons, 33-8. 33-8, and have lit up many of them, despite the claim that the Oilers usually struggle against rookies. Yes, Dustal stopped 46 of 49. That's the outlier. It's not the norm. In fact, and of those 8 wins, only 4 times did a rookie goalie even have a save percentage above .909. So it's not like they've been getting stoned all the time. It's happened very infrequently. In fact, if you're an Oilers fan, you should be hoping Trent Miner gets to start tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And hey, you know what? If you're looking for great deals, now's the time because you get the friends and family sale. It's on right now. Love seats, chairs, sectionals, sofas, bedroom, dining, lots of 25 to 40% off. Check it out, The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, we'll start off with a game day prediction for the Oilers and Avs. Also, who's going to get the game-winning goal?
Well, the Oilers, you know what? I think they'll find a way to sweep the series against the Avs for the first time since 2017. Game-winning goal, God, I don't know. It'd be easy to pick McDavid or Draisaitl because they've got 12 of them combined, but I'll go Jeff Skinner.
I like the pick. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Oilers, of course, in this one. I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-3 win, and how about Vasily Podkolzin? It's his 3rd game winner of the season for the Oilers. Question number 2. Put these 2 teams on paper. Maybe a little bit less so with Mikko Rantanen getting shipped out, but a lot of talent. Is there a more star-studded game than an Oilers-Avalanche matchup?
Well, it's hard. Tampa Bay, maybe, because of Vasilevsky, Hedman, Kucherov, and Point. That might be it. But just the McKinnon-McDavid speed factor, like Kucherov doesn't fly down the ice like that, or Braden Point. They don't wow as much. So I think high power, I could say Tampa, but for sure, breathtaking rushes, no, because you got McKinnon and McDavid, and there's no 2 players who have the 22-mile-an-hour bursts more than those 2. So yeah, from an excitement standpoint, for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I actually had Tampa is my example as well. 4 players in the top 30 when it comes to scoring, throwing Victor Hedman and goaltending. That would have been the pick, but no, I think McKinnon, McDavid, this is what we want to see. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Question number 3. What is your official Super Bowl pick? What's the score going to be?
I'll take KC to win. I think it's going to be a very close game. I want it to be high scoring. For some reason, I think it's going to be. So I will say 24-21.
24-21. Okay, well, I said I'm going Philly, and I've said it all along. Can't be close going into the 4th quarter. So I'm going to say it will be a 31-24 Eagles win. 31-24.
So they're going to win a 1-score game. Ooh, that's the other interesting part about this, because the Chiefs, of course, 17 straight, which is crazy. 1-score victories that they've had. So that's kind of fascinating. But yeah, why not? Hey, you know what? Like, Eagles winning is not a surprise to me at all, right? If they score that many points, I would be a little surprised.
Up at Play Alberta right now, they've got some fun novelty bets. So if you were, throwing a few bets down responsibly, of course, what would you be betting on this weekend at the Super Bowl?
You can go ahead.
Well, there's a couple. You have to do the Gatorade. What color is it going to be? I'm a blue guy myself. I think that's the way I'd be putting on. And just for fun, national anthem, length of it. Got to do one at the beginning, one at the end.
You're going blue? Neither of these teams are blue, though.
They
always have their color Gatorade?
I'm not sure. I always just go blue or purple. I think like 3 years ago it was purple and I won. But blue pays out pretty good, so that's where I'm leaning.
Well, yeah, it pays out pretty good because it's not going to happen.
Got to take that shot.
What else would I go for? Who's singing the national anthem?
Don't even know. I can check it for you.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, because that one's always an interesting one because you can like the under is always quite a bit higher. But to me, I'd have to go, if you're going to do any of those prop bets, I'm always a big one on go back and look at kind of like, especially for the anthem one and who's singing it. That's always a key, right? Because some of those people will do all the research on it and usually they're pretty good at it. I will say, I don't know Lamar's music enough to know which song he's going to play first. But that one, the odds are always good on those. So that might, I think if you're a big Kendrick fan, that's probably where you can get a good deal. Because you might know, like, what's the song that he's going to get everybody, like, is it DNA? Is he just going to, like, would he go with Humble? Right? Like, that's one of his songs. Like, I think that might be his most popular, but I don't know if that's the one he would go with. I have no idea. Like, trying to think, what's another song of his I know? Euphoria. Doesn't he have like Not Like Us, something like that? I don't know. But yeah. So he's got a few. I don't know a lot. I'm not, I like his music, but I can't name a song. So that's probably one I would look it up and I would research it. Because I think you got pretty good odds in that. Like, you can always go for the coin flip, but it's exact same odds. You don't really win a lot on heads or tails.
I think the Super Bowl in LA, Strutty was really mad he didn't perform Humble. He was part of like the West Coast. They had Snoop and Dre and all those guys, and Strutty was mad that they didn't do Humble. So maybe he'll get his wish and they'll perform that. I'm hoping for Mona Lisa with Lil Wayne. I think that would be cool.
Do you think he opens up with it? Because usually that's the thing lately in the Super Bowl halftime show. You have the big name, but then they always bring a few.
Yeah, it comes in later, right?
Yeah, a few extras. So I don't know if you would open up with them, right? Maybe you do.
I'm with you. I don't think he'll open, but it would be a cool touch. John Batiste is the anthem singer.
Yeah.
Don't know much about him, so I have no influence on that one. Final question for you. Is Super Bowl Sunday the best sports day of the year? And if not, what do you think is?
Nah, for me, no. It's a good question. But no, it won't be, because it's like there's the Super Bowl, but what else? Like, when I have the best sports day, I got multiple options. It doesn't start till 4:30 my time. And if I'm an Eastern person, it doesn't start till 6:30. I got all day doing nothing. So no, I'm definitely not going to go with Super Bowl. I would go. There's days in October where you can have, baseball, football, hockey, NBA all on at once. I know it's not regular. That's the thing. But even 3 of them. But even actually, I'm still going to go day one, opening night of the NHL playoffs, because there's usually 3 or 4 games. So I will take that.
Yeah, I mean, I like that there's a little something for everyone. Even if you're not a football fan, there's the halftime show. There's the prop bets, the socializing aspect of it, everyone getting together with food. But for me, I got to say, and it's not my favorite sport, but I love day one, March Madness. Just so many games going on, so much happening.
Thursday, that's pretty good.
It's always a good one. So that's pretty high up there for me.
Yeah, that is like, because nowadays, you don't have to know anything about to fill out a bracket, right? People just go based on names, they go on colors, whatever. So, but you're right, from the game start, I think the first one's like, what, 10-20 our time usually?
Yeah,
something like that.
Early,
so it's all day long. You're right. If you want endless action, that's actually a good pick. But I like the it's the one. I wish the NHL, and they've gotten better now. They start their first playoff on a Saturday, because now I can get 4 games in a row. Because when you start on the Wednesday night, well, that doesn't work. Right. So if you should start on Saturday, Sunday, finish the season. Like this year, I think there's some games Thursday, but most are done Tuesday or Wednesday. So then you can start Saturday or Sunday. Fantastic. Because you get that Saturday, first Sunday game, and all of a sudden you got 4 games. And for us in the Mountain Standard Time, I got a game at like 10 or noon. Fire it up. And it's such a switch from the intensity and the physicality of the playoffs. And it's impossible. I can watch any 2 teams. I don't care. And I'm into the game. That's what I like about the opening day of the playoffs. Super fun. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Coming up, we'll get to Mark Spector. But first, let's get to Sports Update, brought to you by Booster Juice. And every day this month, 2 people, you're going to be getting free smoothies if your name is that day. February 7th, it's a positive Friday for all of you named Jordan or Annika. Jordan, Annika, get to Booster Juice and get your free smoothie. You can check out the list every day at Booster Juice. Follow them online, and they will update it every day for you.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game day Oilers hosting the Colorado Avalanche down at Rogers Place. Puck drop just after 7 o'clock. We've got pregame coverage for you right here on Sports 1440 with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson coming up at 6. Elsewhere, Penguins set to take on the Rangers. No Sidney Crosby in that one. You got the Jets, Islanders, Preds, and Blackhawks. And then the Stars and Kings at 8:30 to wrap it all up. In the association, the Thunder host the Raptors. That'll get going in just about an hour. You also have the Heat in Brooklyn. Hawks host the Bucks. Cavs taking on the Wizards. And the Hornets taking on Wemby and the Spurs. WHL action tonight. The Oil Kings in Calgary taking on the Hitmen. Tomorrow night, it's Louis' birthday. The Oil Kings host the Warriors, presented by Sports 1440 in the BCHL. Spruce Grove Saints hosting the Brooks Bandits at 7. Then at 8 o'clock, you got the Crusaders in Trail taking on the Smoke Eaters in the AJ Canmore in Drumheller. Drayton Valley hosts Whitecourt. Bonneville meets Camrose in GP in Devon. All those games starting at 7 o'clock. The Golden Bears hockey team in Winnipeg taking on the Bisons tonight at 6, tomorrow at 1. The Pandas will host Manitoba at the Drake tonight at 7, tomorrow at 2. At the Saville Center this weekend, you got volleyball action. Bears and Pandas taking on the UBC Thunderbirds. It all gets going tonight at 6. As for McEwen, they've got a home-and-home with the Dinos on the men's side. It's tonight in Calgary, tomorrow at home. The women's side doing the same, but in reverse. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell from the Lowdown with Lowetide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Honey, look, there's a 75-inch TV on sale for the big game.
No.
Oh, come on. We could be the football house in a couple of weeks for Super Sunday.
No.
Oh, but I already invited David, Rhett, and Bryden. And you know Bryden, he's bringing his cousin who we brought to our wedding.
What? No. Ew. That guy was hitting on my mom all night. They are not coming over. Go to On the Rocks.
Yes, On the Rocks. Okay, ontherocksyeg.com. Oh, look, only $30 each. We get a seat, prepaid moosehead, team t-shirt, chance to win $1,000 cash. Hey, babe, great idea.
Love you. Go have fun at OTR.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The moments we need healthcare are some of our most vulnerable. You deserve a system that supports you. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. You made it through, boys and girls. And now you've maybe got big plans. You're a big host for a Super Bowl party. Maybe you're going to the Oilers game. You're watching it tonight. It's the last home game in a month for the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, now they have 2 weeks off, but still. And then when they return, they got a 5-game road trip in Philadelphia, Washington, Florida, Tampa, Carolina. They'll have a pretty good test here coming out of the break when they come out, but they'll try to end on a really good high against the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs are winners of 3 of their last 4, looked very good in the second and third period last night against the Calgary Flames. The Oilers come in, they've won 2 in a row, kind of sloppy affairs. Connor McDavid admitting today that, you know what, our energy level maybe not where you want, but hey, you're finding ways to win. And ultimately, that's what matters at this time of the year, because you know, the old adage is, you know, you can't win a cup at this time of the year. You can enhance your chances by home ice if you just find ways to win ugly games. And lately, the Oilers have won some ugly games. I think tonight there'll be a little bit more emotion in the game just because of, you know, the opposition. You got Draisaitl and McDavid on one side, and you got McKinnon and Makar on the other side. And then you throw in Bouchard and, you know, go down the list on both teams, Netchus, et cetera. There's some good. Then you got Skinner and Blackwood over the last 3 months. Both those guys are top 6 in save percentage and goals against amongst goaltenders. So 2 guys who should be dueling each other. So it's got the makings of a good game. Hope you're going, and if not, enjoy watching it. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca as we welcome Mark Spector to the show, and the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. They just remind you as you go through construction zones, be safe. They want to get home to watch the games just like you. It's GS Construction. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing pretty good Friday afternoon. Last game before the break. Let's go, man. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, no changes to the lineup of the skaters. Obviously, Stuart Skinner comes in goal. And, you know, Leon Draisaitl, I thought, had a really good, honest answer about Jeff Skinner today when he was asked about him. He just says, you know, hey, I think there's some moments where he needed to learn how to be in a winning environment and play the type of hockey, but you know, he's really bought into it. And, you know, it's, and he even talked about how, you know, as a skilled player, if you're not, you know, playing as much as you normally are, it can be difficult, but he's liked how he's played lately and feels hopefully maybe they can build some chemistry, because I know it's only one game, but that third period, you know, and even in the first period, they had a really good chance. I think it was their second shift. You know, there are some signs there that, you know, maybe it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I heard Leon say that today, and I thought to myself, it kind of, I liked what I heard, because frankly, I'm not, this isn't me blowing my horn or anything. I agree with Leon. I wrote the other day that until you play for a contender, you don't always know how to play like a contender, you know? And Skinner has never been blessed on you know, he's played on some teams that could take a run at 8th place and never did. He's never played in a team that has expectations to win a Stanley Cup and has a, you know, a style of play that they've played now for a few years that is good enough to get you to a Stanley Cup, that wins playoff rounds. It's not the same way they're playing in Buffalo. It's not the same way they're playing in Pittsburgh right now. You know, this is how really good teams play, and you can't be -10 after, what was he, -10 after about 18 games and expect to have a leading role on the Edmonton Oilers, man. It doesn't work that way. So I thought what Leon said today was very candid when he said that he just needed some time around here to kind of figure out the level you got to play on this team. And I don't know, looks to me like he's finding it. Doesn't it look like that to you?
Yeah, it's, you know what, it's been a progression, I think, for Skinner. And I think it shows a player who wants to be in a winning team. Right, because when you lose that much, like you have 2 choices. I'm just gonna keep playing my game because that's what I like to do, and then you'll stay on losing teams. Or if you want to be on a winner, well, there's some aspects of your game that you might have to change, and maybe you don't score as much as you're used to, but you win way more. And at the end of the day, if that's what you want, then you got to buy into it. And I definitely think, you know, we've seen, you know, he's better positioning, you know, and it is easier, I think, sometimes, Spec, to buy in when you see your best players doing it and they see the team winning, right? And it's like, well, geez, other guys are getting rewarded and they're doing it. Either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to get rewarded. It's that simple.
Well, and I thought McDavid said today, somebody asked him about watching Leon Draisaitl go back and forth atop the scoring race. I think the question was, how would it work for this team if Leon could, win the scoring title? And Connor kind of smiled and said, we won a lot of trophies around here.
Yeah.
And you could just tell what he's saying is we're so far past worrying about who wins an individual trophy. Like that is just not a thing in that room. Sure. Is he going to take a run at it? Are they going to pass him the puck near the end of the race if he needs a point? Of course they are. But, Skinner has joined a team where they got two guys that could win the Art Ross trophy any given year. And neither of them have their eyes on that trophy. The trophy they're looking at is they give out about 2 months later.
For sure. I still believe it does matter. You get that close and you've played 81 games and now you're tied for the scoring race. Like no one's going to remember who finished second, but they'll still remember who won the cup, but they'll also remember who the Art Ross trophy was, right? They'll remember who the Maurice trophy was. So, and you can't win the cup in the regular season. So why not win the awards? And because he wins the award doesn't mean he can't win the cup at the same time. So
I'm not telling you no one wants it, but I'm just saying try getting McDavid to give you a juicy quote right now about winning the Art Ross. Good luck to you. It's not there. I've tried in the past. So sure.
Oh yeah.
If they win them, they win them. I would absolutely guarantee you one thing. If you told Leon and Connor McDavid that they're not going to win any individual trophies, but they're going to win the Stanley Cup, they'd sign that deal like yesterday.
Yeah. Well, of course they would, 100%. I just don't see the connection of if you win one that it impacts you at all. That's all I'm saying, right? Like you can win one, lose the other, lose one, win the other. It has no bearing on either one. Because thing is, once the Art Ross is handed out, a new season begins, right? So that's what's unique about it. John Klingberg, I had a really good chat with him about his game and his plan during the break. He's going to stay in Edmonton. He's got to find a home for his family. He's also going to skate with the trainers and stuff, and he's actually going to practice probably a few times with the Oil Kings. He even talked about, because I asked him about, theoretically he could go on a conditioning stint if the player agrees to it, right? But they talked about it, and he just felt because of the family thing and everything else, he isn't going to go. And he talked about his game. He feels confident with the puck, but it was interesting what he talked about, and we'll play the clip later, was for him, it's getting your gap properly when you're defending, but also when your partner's defending. So you're close to support him, because if he has a good gap, the odds are then he gets the puck, and I got to be in a position to get me the puck. And so he says those are the elements, and like just getting more comfortable in battles and getting back to the right angles that you're watching for, because he actually said he felt better in Chicago than he did in St. Louis as far as mobility goes. And he said for him, that was a big kind of mental hurdle, because he's like, oh, second game, I'm not tired. I don't have any wear and tear. Yep. And so he said he felt good.
Yeah, he's been an interesting guy. I've heard a couple with him. He's pretty open, right? He's kind of that typical, he's an honest Swedish guy. His English is obviously excellent. Seems really smart, right? Seems like a very smart guy, which you like in a hockey player today. The game's coming fast at you. The smart guys, you don't find many really good players who aren't really smart guys anymore, the way maybe you did at one point. I would say to you that for him, you're right. I think you had a riff off of this earlier, Jay. Remember when he first came and you were talking to him about how the puck, I feel more comfortable because I know which way I'm going. It's when I don't have the puck and I'm defending that his hips were bugging him, because now he wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I feel like guys like this, when they have the puck, they're so comfortable, and the game, now they're in control, right? Like when he's got the puck, he's in control, and I feel like he's making pretty good plays. He's not tossing pucks away. He's hitting guys on the tape. So yeah, the place where you have to kind of adjust is when you don't have the puck, and you got to figure out where you fit in and where you're supposed to be. And like you say, support your D partner and what's going on with the forward. And so that's give the kid some time, man. He hasn't played since, I think it's November 11th of 2023. So give him some time. I think his progression so far has been, pretty good. It can't stop here. Like if this is as good as he is, the Oilers are shopping at the deadline. But if it gets a little bit better than this, maybe we're having that conversation now.
Yeah. And, I look at Klingberg, and there's lots of elements of his game that you see, and you're like, okay, I think he can help the team. The big one's going to be, can he take that step? And, because I do see him in some battle spec, is a little bit off balance and, struggles at times. And that's just kind of from, game timing and lots of things. And, he did admit that, the break is probably not the best for him because he wants to keep playing. But he also did say, he's going to play a lot of games in a short period of time, so the rest will probably help. But he's got to take advantage of the days off and be able to push himself. And, that's why he's going to go out and practice. And obviously practicing against the Oil Kings isn't the same as practicing against the Edmonton Oilers, but, you do anything you can. And, getting your family comfortable can probably help mentally off the ice. But, Klingberg, I've seen more positives from negatives from him thus far. And to me, that's a positive.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I kind of look at him the way we looked at Emberson early in the year, where, you saw a young kid playing his 30th, 35th, 40th game. You thought, okay, he's okay now. He's going to be a lot better when he gets games under his belt. I look at Klingberg the same way. Like, there should be a good bit of ceiling on this guy that he's not close to yet. There should be a level of improvement for him to get to. The train that's coming down the tracks here is the trade deadline. Like, you can't wait. They don't have 2 months to wait for this guy. They got a month to wait for this guy. So let's see how and 2 of those weeks almost they're not playing hockey. So that's a bit of an issue that Stan Bowman's going to have to make a judgment call on.
Mark Spector joins us, and I still look at the forward group spec, and I think they want to upgrade some speed there, and we'll see how they do it. But do you think the Nugent Hopkins Henrique, and I know you talked about it because sometimes they'll move Draisaitl to the wing, so then they got to move up Henrique and whatever. That maybe they need another center. I think somewhere if they don't think it's Noah Philp, that's an option. Although they've used Janmark, and you know what, maybe in the playoffs they'd be comfortable to say for six shifts in a game from midway through the second period until the end of the game, I can play Matthias Janmark at center. Right? I could see.
Yeah, it's funny because it was you and I yesterday who were going through the centers and trying to figure out, and I think we came to the conclusion that it kind of all hinges on where you're playing Nugent Hopkins, right? If you're playing him as the left wing, then yeah, you probably want to go get a center. If you're playing him as a center, then you probably don't need one. I read Pierre Lebrun today, and he had Stan Bowman. Stan Bowman said the exact same thing. He said, it kind of works off of how we're going to use Nuge. So, Hal, you and me could GM the Oilers at this point. But, I mean, that's up to the coaching staff. I mean, I'll ask you, if you had to use Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in one spot for the whole playoff run, and I know you can be flexible, but if you had to use him in one and you had to choose, would you play him as a center or a left winger?
Well, if he's in the top six, he's a winger. If he's in my bottom six, I can play him as a center. That's how I look at Nugent-Hopkins. He's not a top six center for me.
Okay. So
what about you?
You didn't really answer my question, though. Where are you playing him? Are you playing him as your third line center or your top line winger?
Well, if I could get another winger, I would play him as a center.
Okay.
Because he doesn't produce a ton 5-on-5.
Right.
Even in the top six.
I feel the same way as you. I feel like the market may make my decision for me. If I go out in the market and find a third line center that I love, now you got Henrique as your fourth. And, I mean, I don't know how happy he'd be about that, but that's a pretty awesome fourth line center. He's still a pretty good player. And then I put Nugent-Hopkins on the wing. If I go into the trade market and find a left winger that knocks my socks off, then I say, okay, Nugent-Hopkins is going to be my third line center. So I'm not sure the trade deadline won't dictate to the Edmonton Oilers a little bit as to what move they make. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think, what they do with Nugent, and I won't be surprised to see Nugent-Hopkins rotate and play both positions down the stretch and even in the playoffs. And then we throw in the wild card of Evander Kane. What if by game 5 of the playoffs, Evander Kane has surprised a lot of people and is like, this guy could be a help in your top 6? Because I think Evander Kane, I'm planning on Evander Kane being a bottom 6 guy to start the playoffs. Right? He hasn't played in a year. He's a bottom 6 player. I think Stan Bowman, if you go into their coach's room, in their war room, and they've got their whiteboard out, Kane, playoff roster, he's in a bottom 6 spot to start. Now, if he plays well enough and is like, hey, this guy's playing great, we can move him up, well, then that changes a lot of things. And that's actually a great problem to have. But I don't think there's any sane reason for them to put him on the chalkboard in your top 6 to start the playoffs. There's no way.
You can't do it because you just can't do it. There's no chance. You're right on that completely. I go into the playoffs with a top 6 with, frankly, I probably go in with Nugent Hopkins as my top line left winger, Draisaitl as my second line center, and when I feel like it, they change places, right? They just swap places. Nuge becomes my second line center. So now you go to the trade market and figure out how all that changes. You go to Evander Kane and you figure out how that all changes. Sometimes too many, there's a lot of players here. You throw Evander Kane into the mix and they got a lot of guys, man. So that, that's not always, more isn't always better, right?
No, you don't want too many guys around unhappy. That's totally valid. Right. Many coaches have talked about, man, if you have too many healthy scratches, you got too many problems, because it's like guys want to play. Right. And I totally understand. And that's Spec. And that leads me to my last point about the goaltending, because people have talked about, hey, try to upgrade on Calvin Pickard. And I'm like, okay. But the challenge with that is if you're going to upgrade on Pickard, you got to be damn sure that the guy you're bringing in is going to be a very good teammate to Stuart Skinner. He's not going, because you do not want your starting goaltender looking over his shoulder. People, I know that, competition's great. It's not as great as people think, to the point where a guy plays scared and nervous. You don't want your you don't have your defenseman playing, well, if I make a mistake, I miss next game. You don't have your forwards playing, if I make a mistake, I miss next game. And you can't have your goalie playing that way. So if you want to upgrade, and there's a very short list of guys. If you want to, you better be damn certain that the guy is comfortable if he's not the starter and not playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's not many of those guys around. To me, if you bring a goalie in, you're basically bringing in a higher end backup than Pickard is what you're doing. And that guy still, if Skinner's good, that guy's still not going to play barely at all. I don't think that would go well in the dressing room, first of all. I don't think guys love to see Pickard sitting in the press box and not on the team anymore. I don't think the Edmonton Oilers players would love that move one bit. And I know this, being a good teammate and supporting your starter and all that, I don't care who they find. They won't find a better teammate and a better guy to support Stu Skinner than Pickard. That guy doesn't exist, okay? There's better goalies. There's not better guys in the dynamic of what you stated and just rolled out there. There isn't anyone better than that. So, yeah. So you're, I get it. Some people want more goaltending. I don't think you're getting more goaltending here. I don't think they're not, in my eyes. You want a prediction? No goalies coming to Edmonton here. I'm here to tell you that right now. But you sure could try to fix something that's not broken there and regret it. That's what I would warn you.
Yeah, no, it's always, especially at a position that you can have the best goalie in the league and he can get absolutely lit up in a playoff series. And we've seen Hellebuck hasn't won a playoff series in 3 years.
There you go.
Right? And it's not necessarily that he's bad. The environment in front of him plays a big factor. It just does.
Of course it does. But the Hellebuck is the great answer here. Like, look at how good Winnipeg is. They got one worry in Winnipeg right now, and I don't know that they're stressing out on it, but I want to see Hellebuck do something with this team. He's a Vezina winner. He's got the best team in front of him he's ever had here. There's only one thing. He hasn't done it in the playoffs yet, right? Stu Skinner's got more playoff wins than Connor Halley does, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's not, the grass isn't always greener, folks. I'm not telling you Hellebuck's not better than what the Edmonton has. He is. I am telling you he hadn't done it in the playoffs very well. So the grass isn't always greener.
Spec, have yourself a great day. We'll see you at the game tonight.
All right. Sounds good.
There you go. It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, LT will be by. We'll talk some Oilers, probably talk his Eagles. What does LT make for Super Bowl? Find out next.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. You've probably heard the word rehab before, but when GS Construction talks about rehab, we mean bringing aging infrastructure back to life. Water and sewer systems that keep our communities flowing. GS Construction needs skilled pros who know how to get it done safely and efficiently, and that's why we're hiring. If you're a foreman or a pipe layer, apply to a company that's building for Edmonton and area for 2025. Join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we restore. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join our crew today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Shop like an insider with the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. Save up to 25% off sofas, love seats, matching chairs, and sectionals. When you buy more, you save more. Up to an extra $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Plus, save up to 20% off bedroom and dining furniture. Save up to $600 off big screen TVs and up to 25% off TV stands, fireplaces, and wall units. Sleep better with mattresses up to 40% off. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You're listening to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the PWHL Takeover Tour, featuring a matchup between the Toronto Scepters and the Ottawa Charge, Sunday, February 16th at Rogers Place. Premium seating is now available. Check out the available suites, theater boxes, those tables. Head to rogersplace.com/PWHL.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Positive Friday in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can get in the game. Oilers, pretty big favorites tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. Do they know something? Also, I think there might be some goals tonight, so that's good. The line is 6.5. And a lot of low-scoring game. Man, really? There's way too many games late in the NHL where you got teams scoring 2 goals. It's brutal. We had Adam Oates on. You hear what he talked about the it's kind of the one-man offense, the spread offense that the teams are doing now. Watch how often teams will have the puck in the offensive zone and they'll just circle around the outside and nothing happens. Right? Oh, geez, we got oh, God, they still got the puck. Oh, this is great. And then there's no scoring chance. Nothing really happens. So you have offensive zone possession time. Great. Do you get anything from it? Not really. And I think you're starting to see guys get spread out because hey, support the puck. Now, defensive teams we'll let you guys go all the way on the outside all day long. So you got to start penetrating a little bit more. And I think now you obviously have some skill guys, Draisaitl and McDavid. Those guys have the ability to just make some elite plays that not many other guys can make. And all of a sudden it's in the back of the net. But a lot of teams don't have that. And it's, I don't know, you got to get back to getting inside, man. From Ryan Smith to others, there's bags of money at the front of the net. It's got to get there, and there's not a lot of it. There's not as much anymore. So they, your shots are down now. Part of that's due to how they're counting shots on goal now. Like if it's going wide and the goalie gloves it, it used to be counted as a shot. Now it's not. So I don't mind that, but that impacts save percentage, everything else. Because now instead of 30 shots a game, maybe there's only 28. And now those 2 shots were kind of just meh shots, but it's the difference between a 900 save percentage and 889 save percentage. Not that the goalie's necessarily playing any better. It's just 2 fewer shots he faces that were kind of, garbage shots. Let's welcome to the show a gentleman who I don't even know if he'll watch the game. Right? Like maybe he'll pace around. Maybe he'll watch with the balaclava on and cover his eyes. I don't know. But Alan Mitchell, longtime Eagles fan, joins us. LT, how you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, what you were describing is Ales Hemsky. Modern hockey, the godfather of modern hockey is Ales Hemsky.
In what way?
Because he skates around in circles and it's always around the perimeter. And then he goes back out to center ice and takes another dive bomb into the zone. I mean, I love Ales Hemsky, but he did that a lot.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Big George would get the puck in the corner and the defense, well, hey, buddy, you can stay there for 20 seconds. I'm cycling the puck down low, back and forth, and then nothing ever happens. So
it was great. What he did was, I always felt like it was like giving the skill guys a rest, because he could do it for 50 seconds. I mean, he was such a workhorse, but you couldn't get the puck off him. I mean, I'm sure for his line mates, it was a little bit frustrating, but it was hell to watch because he was so strong.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. It wasn't like you're going to win a battle against him once he got it. That's for sure. We'll get to the orders in a second, Al, but do you have a Super Bowl spread at Castle Mitchell on Sunday?
You know what? For many years now, we order pizza. It's simple to do. Pizza, if it's cool, it's still, or cold, it's still good. We get 3 or 4 different kinds of pizza depending upon how many people are here, and we just have pizza and beer. And that's because it's so easy to do, and you don't have. I don't even ask people what they want. I just order pizza, and if they don't like it, they can pick a sandwich. But pizza is easy and simple to do. That's why it's such a great food.
Oh, buddy, Papa John's, man. Get all the time. Al, if you haven't tried it,
love Papa John's.
Try the ranch on one of your pizzas instead of the tomato sauce. It's a game changer.
Really?
Oh, buddy. I'm telling you, try it.
All right.
You will very much like it.
Okay. I will. I'm trusting you now because I love the Papa John's, but I will trust you.
Yeah, just try it on one. All right, you don't want to do it on all of them because not everybody has the same taste buds. But I think once you try it once, especially if you want to get in on one with a lot of meat, it's very good, very good.
Yeah, my son likes the meat lovers.
Oh yeah. How can you not? Are you expecting an Eagles win? Or are you gonna play the? Well, I don't think they're gonna win, but then secretly hoping they'll win.
I know that when I do the aw shucks, I don't know what this. I'm just gonna watch, and I know that that irritates people. But I will say this that I've had Dallas Cowboys fans say to me, "I know you're an Eagles fan, and I'm with you. I'm never going to be with you again, but I hate KC." So I think if it counts for other fan bases for the Eagles, then yeah, I think they're going to win. And I also think I will give them credit. They had a lot of retirements and a lot of from Kelsey to Graham to Fletcher Cox to on down the line. They had injuries, Lane Johnson, and the offensive and defensive line is where you win football games. And they've done a really quick turnaround. They really have. And I'm so impressed with the Philadelphia Eagles. I hope they win. I'll pick them to win. But in doing that, I probably cursed them.
The Edmonton Oilers. John Klingberg, what's been your early impressions?
I like him. I know that you can tell that he's rusty. You can tell he hasn't played in a while. But I love his range, and his foot speed is good, and he passes well. And there's the things that the Oilers like their defensemen to do. I think he can do that, and I like the range is what I like. Like I think that he talked about the surgeries and he talked about playing in pain and I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they'll make a trade at the deadline, but he looks like a guy who, if you give him 20 games, he's going to be back to where you would expect that he can play, a lot of minutes and like second pairing. And I wasn't prepared for him because you have to understand this. They didn't bring him in on like, let's give you 8 minutes on the third pairing and we'll dress 7 guys. They didn't. They threw him in the deep end, and I think he's played well. I genuinely do.
You know what? I've seen lots. I've seen more positives from negatives, and we'll play my clip with John coming up in the next segment because I asked him about like the battles, and he's like, "That's the question." Because for him, he feels the areas he needs to improve the most are in battle drills and reading off his partner and putting himself in better position. Those are his words, not mine.
Yeah, and that's fair because like he's never played with Darnell Nurse, and Nurse is a very he's a fast player. He can move the puck. People keep saying he's a shutdown guy. That isn't really what Nurse does, but I think that between the two of them, they have enough speed and range, and they're both big guys. And I think there's a chance that by the playoffs they'll be no fun to play against, really seriously, because they've got a lot of range. The Oilers missed Desharnais because even if you were fast, it's 1.5 stick lengths at least to get by Desharnais, even if he doesn't move fast. And I'm not saying Klingberg is that, but he's a rangy guy, and I think that the Oiler coaching staff can put that to good use. I'm excited to see him over the night. I'm glad they got him early enough, man. That's so important. It's not like they won't get a really good swath of games to look at him between now and March 7th.
Yeah, that's fair, and just better for him overall. Gets more games in. Jeff Skinner, it's a very small sample, but his game has been improving here, definitely in the new year. I don't think there's any questions. Play away from the puck, positioning. Chris Knobloch spoke about his positioning on the Draisaitl goal. Says if he's not in the right position to get the turnover, the play doesn't happen. Do you think that and Leon, to his credit, even said, hey, maybe early on it took him some time to kind of learn how to play to be on a winning team. Like there's different things you do, and so I think Skinner, clearly him showing the improvement means he really wants to be on a winning team. And, that's a big factor. And, if he's got 3 goals now in his last 5 games and, streaky scores, man, if all of a sudden he gets some confidence around the net, that could be a big difference. Do you think, Skinner can be the top 6 forward that the organization and many people thought he would be when they signed him?
I do. I think that with the caveat that, if Evander Kane comes back, I think they will use him in the top 6, and then Skinner would be on the third line. But what I like about Skinner is that he is a smart player. He's been hauling ass. He's been working really hard. But free agents sign, and sometimes the first entire year is just basically lost. And then in the second year, they sort of get the range and they get the feel for the team they're playing for. I think I'll give Chris Knobloch credit. He just wasn't going to buy in that, if you have to play this way, you have to be aware. Positioning is important. And I also think that Skinner had to adjust a little bit because there's just no way he's going to be the transporter on the puck through the neutral zone when he's on a line with Draisaitl. That's going to be Draisaitl. The only time Draisaitl, doesn't do that is when he's on a line with McDavid. So Leon's going to carry the puck for the most part, and it's Skinner's job to, you were saying it a minute ago, go to those areas and find the net. And, he's high skill. He makes great passes. He's a really skilled player. And the more he plays the way Knobloch wants him to, the more ice time he's going to get. Right now he's in a hot streak. I want to see when he's back to being, scoring once every, 10 days, if he's still able to have the coach's confidence and play in a somewhat of a feature role.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Al, enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the Oilers game tonight.
Man, it's going to be a great weekend, and it's not minus 30 anymore.
No,
Jason.
I know. Minus 15 feels balmy.
Oh God, it feels so good. I was getting sick of the old people get grumpy when it's cold. I'll tell you that.
Hey, we know. Good. Declan said, man, it was the tryingest week of his life, the minus 30 week. So it's good.
All right, be good.
Thanks, Al. That's Alan Mitchell, aka Lowetide. When we come back, we'll get to the lineup. We'll also hear from John Klingberg on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app, so you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Sunday, February 9th. Touchdown! The biggest game of the year. Best on 30 TVs.
Only at On the Rocks. Join host Ryan Jesperson at OTR's Rock and Bull Super Party.
Tickets only $30 and include
Guaranteed seating,
a team t-shirt,
prepaid moosehead,
and an all-you-can-eat tailgate buffet.
plus prizes each quarter.
And one person will take home $1,000 at the end of the game.
Rock and Bull Super Party, February 9th.
Tickets at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
Kids get in free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Let's act together to stop the destruction. We can rebuild our healthcare by respecting frontline workers and by putting patients before profits and politics.
Gregor,
Visit
welcome home. Went to Hawaii.
CA to learn more.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world-famous Super Dogs.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Make your game day feast better with Papa John's. Take 25% off any pizza at regular menu price when you use code word GAME25 at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
547, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in town. Cam has cerebral palsy, he's in a wheelchair, but with the powers of radio, wonders of technology, his words now come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Mr. Gregor, welcome home. Went to Hawaii, eh? You know, nobody has ever asked me to go to Hawaii with them to surf, and I thought we were friends. Okay, sorry, okay. Let's soldier on with this epic broadcast bonanza extravaganza. Positive Friday, let's fire this baby up. Edmonton Oilers, top of the Pacific Division. How about them apples, Christopher and Matthew? And we all know hockey players who reach the National Hockey League continue to practice. Practice. It is there where players carefully handcraft and hoe on their talents, skating, shooting, passing, and stick handling. Such efforts from all players come together like a well-synchronized symphony to produce a masterpiece. And championship teams. A few weeks ago, one of my best friends suggested the Oilers are winning games now, because simply they know how to win now. Good point. Yet a Google search of knowing how to win hockey games suggests at length the skills of the game. The same skills we mentioned about 100 words ago. Not surprising. So maybe there isn't a masterclass or a video or a handout on learning how to win. I submit this. It's something that cannot be taught. It is something which you learn through experience, through knowing to do something that maybe you yourself can't explain. You can't teach your kids, but goodness gracious, it works like a damn. especially when you have 20 other teammates, other people who have the same end goal as we do, the same drive, to become ultra successful, to do something very few people do. They feel those invisible things, those traits, if you will, needed to win championships. We're seeing the Oilers finding ways to win games. They might even surface tonight against Colorado. Oilers fans have to be happy. They are there, whether we can see them or not. And as for the Super Bowl Sunday, here's what I'm calling: Philadelphia Eagles 19, Kansas City Chiefs 29. Taylor Swift scenes in Private Box 16. The 2-minute warning with me, the Cammer. Jason Gregor Show, Monday, Friday, Sports 1440.
Did he just give himself a nickname? The Cammer? We're going to talk about that. I love it. The Cammer. Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. It's great. And it is true. Hey, knowing how to win matters in the regular season. Just find ways to play well enough to win. It's not always pretty. The last two games, I think, are good examples of that, but they found ways to win. And tonight, they'll have to be better for sure. Colorado's a much better team than St. Louis or Chicago, but the Oilers are 2-0 against the Avs this year, and we'll look to sweep them in the season series. John Klingberg will play tonight. Then he'll stay in Edmonton during the break. And I talked to John just about, he mentioned how, getting better, battles and reading off your partner, the two things he wants to improve. So I asked him, how do you go about improving those areas?
Well, I think it just comes down to challenge yourself in a game, but also in practice to set that right gap without feeling like the forward just going right by you, or that you putting a gap where you're not close enough to him where he can make plays. So I think it comes down to challenge yourself, obviously in a practice to start, but then obviously in the game as well. And then getting the read off of teammates. If you see that he steps up or have a good gap, you need to be right close to him to pick up the puck as well and create an angle to give yourself more time with the puck when you get the puck back.
You mentioned that you felt better in Chicago, which is a good sign. Now you play tonight, but then you have 2 weeks off. Is this break good for you with 6 games in 9 days, or would you rather keep playing?
I would have rather kept playing, obviously. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just what the schedule is, and you're going to have to work through it. For me, obviously, I think I'm just staying around. I still have things to take care of outside of hockey. My family's here. We gotta get a living situation, all that too. So I'm gonna be around here, try to get skates in and working out and feel like I'm using these 2 weeks to get myself in a good position after the break's done.
And he'll actually be skating with the Oilers skill, and he'll probably practice even a few times with the Oil Kings from our conversation. So there was some conversations between him and Edmonton about potentially going down to Bakersfield, but after looking at everything with his family and stuff, they decided that that's not the route that was best. And hey, I can understand that. Just, we talk about the hockey stuff is one thing, but your family moves here. You want to get your family settled. You don't want to be living in a hotel. So I understand that. So that's a rather important part of it. And he'll be ready to go. The Oilers, of course, they'll be off starting tomorrow, and then they will be back. They have a 2 p.m. practice on not this Tuesday, but then the following Tuesday, which is the 18th. They'll practice the Tuesday, the 18th, and again the Wednesday. Then they'll travel to Philly on Thursday, the 20th, and then they'll practice in Philly on the 21st, and then play on the 22nd, and that starts a 5-game road trip after this Four Nations break. Now, of course, McDavid, Ekholm, Arvidsson, they're all playing, so they'll be going directly to Montreal and Boston and where their teams are at. Quickly, let's get to the Sherwood Power Sports and Marine lineup. Of course, brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, home of the $50 bi-weekly ATV. And you can be on a boat next summer for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Nice. Get it right now at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. The Oilers, same 4 lines. Skinner's going to play with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. You'll have Arvidsson with McDavid and Hyman. Nugent Hopkins with Brown and Janmark. And then you have Henrique with Kapanen and Perry, Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Klingberg, Kulak, and Emerson. Stuart Skinner will get the start in goal for the Oilers, going up against, we think, Mr. Blackwood. He'll start his 7th straight game for the Avs. They got some injuries to their backup. McKinnon with Lehkonen and Nechas. That's the top line. Of course, Taves and Makar. Probably see a lot of McKinnon versus McDavid tonight. Should be loads of fun. You got the pregame show coming up next with Walker and Paulson. Have yourselves a great weekend, everyone. Please do not drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Get home safe. Get a cab. Get an Uber. get a DD, whatever it is, but get home safe so you can watch the Super Bowl, the orders, and then we can talk about all of it on Monday. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1975. If you need electrical gear, it's your one-stop shop. They got it all. EWEL.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just over an hour away from puck drop as the Oilers taking on the Colorado Avalanche down at Rogers Place. Pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson coming up next year on Sports 1440. Just one game underway right now. After 20 minutes, the Rangers lead the Penguins 1-0. Sidney Crosby not playing in this one. Later on, you got the Jets and the Islanders, the Preds in Chicago, and the Kings hosting the Dallas Stars. In the association, Raptors taking on the Thunder. Tip-off in about 10 minutes' time from OKC. Right now, Hornets up on the Spurs 47-39, and the Cavs lead the Wizards 48-44. Just getting going. Bucks on top of the Hawks 19-16. Later tonight, Suns hosting the Jazz. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in action down in Calgary taking on the Hitmen. Tomorrow night, it's Louis' birthday. It's the Oil Kings hosting the Warriors. That game presented by Sports 1440. In the BCHL, Spruce Grove hosting Brooks. That gets going at 7. And at 8 o'clock, you got the Sherwood Park Crusaders in Trails will take on the Smoke Eaters. And in the AJ, Canmore in Drumheller. Drayton Valley hosting Whitecourt. Bonneville meets Camrose. And GP is in Devon. All those games will start at 7 o'clock. Golden Bears hockey team in Winnipeg taking on the Bison tonight, 6 o'clock tomorrow at 1. The Pandas hosting Manitoba at the Drake tonight at 7. Tomorrow at 2. This weekend at the Saville Center, you've got volleyball action. Bears and Pandas both taking on the UBC Thunderbirds. It all gets going tonight at 6 o'clock. And for McEwen, they've got a home-and-home with the Dinos tonight in Calgary tomorrow. Here, the women's side doing the reverse up against the UFC as well. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports